is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining us right here on Tuesday night. It is Tuesday Night Titans, episode 153 for your Tuesday, June 30th, 2026. I'm your host, JD, from New York, as always, joined by the one and only. He is the real Forbidden Door, the Solid Monster. What's going on, man?
Man, it is hot out. Do you know that?
Yes.
Do you know that the heat has blanketed the East Coast? It's going to be in the 90s like each of the next 3 days.
I know. I'm going down to Atlantic City on Thursday. How do you think I'm going to feel by the beach? I'm going to be a lobster.
Yeah, but at least you'll be by the beach. So, I mean, it's always cooler. You know, you get like a nice breeze down by the beach.
The beach, according to, what's his name? I've seen somebody on Instagram, Grayson Waller. He's jogging the beaches of Atlantic City because Raw was in Atlantic City. He said, this is a deplorable city, one of the most disgusting cities in the United States. I agree. You're not telling me nothing I don't know.
Oh, I'm just shocked that Grayson Waller was actually present for Monday Night Raw. I mean, we never actually see him on the television show.
I know.
So he was there. He was in Atlantic City.
He was in Atlantic City. He was jogging the beaches at 9 a.m., yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's the most work he put in that day, apparently. Well. So, poor guy.
Well, we will talk about Atlantic City, Monday Night Raw from Atlantic City last night, and there was a lot of controversy to come out of the show. We'll definitely talk about that. I think me and Jason are on the same wavelengths when it comes to what they did creatively there. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Sami Zayn, new WWE Champion. How long he holds that championship, I don't know, but if you read the spoilers, it may be a very short-lived reign. So we'll talk about that. Talk about the Forbidden Door. It may actually still be going on. I'm not really sure. I'm still in this loopy phase from watching the show on Sunday.
Oh, well, I'll check for you. Let me see here. I think it's still in progress, I believe.
Still in progress, man.
Still in progress.
Zack Sabre Jr. and Kenny Omega have just hit the 27th hour of their wrestling match.
No, you're exaggerating, but the co-main event has just hit the ring. So I'll keep you posted as we go along.
Well, we do have good news on the Forbidden Door, ladies and gentlemen. The length of the show hopefully will get better moving forward because Tony has heard the criticisms, and there is a news article on that. So going into Redemption, we may have some positive news about the length of their pay-per-views. We'll talk about the Forbidden Door. I did watch TNA, as did Jason, and we will go over TNA. So Slammiversary was a very good show on Sunday afternoon. So we got a loaded show for you. Lots of pro wrestling over the past weekend, and I am wrestled out, honestly. So we will try our best to get through this, and we thank you guys for joining us here on TNT. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button. Please go and do that. That helps us out tremendously. The comment section is all yours. Leave a comment at the end of the show. Helps us out in the algorithm. Super chats are the best way to go about supporting us here on Tuesday night, so please do that as well. If you guys want to follow Jason, you guys know where to find him. Links for everything will be down in the description below. And if you guys want to chime on in, live chat is rocking and rolling as always. I'm periodically looking over there to see what's going on. So,
they're just, they're having a blast, as they always do. I see all the same faces. We see Justin Toner, we see Caden, we see everybody in there. We see you guys.
We see you. So be good there, chime in, and let's get this show on the road. Thank you guys again for joining us. Going to leave it up to this guy, as always, to guide us over this busy wrestling weekend, man. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I feel like we should probably start with TNA. Maybe we'll start there because I think we get into the heavier stuff the deeper we go with AEW and WWE. There's just a lot more to cover there.
Yeah.
So I know you saw the show.
I did.
I saw most of it, and so why don't we start there?
I tuned in specifically, me personally.
Well, I think you and I tuned in for the same reason.
Yes, I tuned in for the X Division Championship and one particular name who made his return to TNA after 15 years. And that is the Amazing Red. I tuned in for Red. I did not know about the announcement that was to come after the match, which we'll talk about in a second. But I also tuned in to see Mike Santana because we heard the rumors. And we are very fond of Mike Santana. And the rumors are that this might be his last TNA match, period, before he goes on to greener pastures. And that is the actual news that we got today. So we'll kind of lump that in when we get to his specific match with Nick Nemeth. But we'll start with the X Division here, Jason. Amazing Red, 15 years. Back in TNA for this night only. X Division match. Cedric Alexander, Leon Slater, who also may be wrestling his last TNA match. We don't know anything more about that yet. Frankie Kazarian, Red himself, Casey Navarro, Mr. Elegance, and Fabian Eichner What do you think of? I'm going to start here, man. Fabian Eichner, he came out looking all gladiator-esque. What do you think of that?
Look, Fabian Eichner, I've been a fan of his since the first time I saw him in the Cruiserweight Classic.
They look good.
I mean, well, it wasn't just that. Like, I just remember the first time I watched him, he was doing things in the ring that I wasn't expecting him to be able to do.
No.
And so that's when he first caught my eye, and then the Imperium run. And then they let him go, and then he just sort of was out of commission. Nobody really heard anything about him. So I'm happy that he's back wrestling. I think that he's a great addition to that roster. And yeah, I mean, he had the gladiator look going, but I mean, I don't really care about that. I just wanted to see how he would sort of assimilate into an Ultimate X type of match. He didn't do anything terribly crazy, but honestly, nobody did anything terribly crazy in that match. If you've ever seen an Ultimate X match before, and Red's been in a few himself, this was probably the most tame Ultimate X match that I've ever seen, which is not necessarily a bad thing because they weren't out there trying to like kill themselves, which was good. But if you've seen one of these before, I think when it was over, you came away from it feeling like, okay, this was not like at the breakneck pace of like, oh my God, someone's gonna die, kind of thing in this match. So that to me was very noticeable.
Yeah, I was wondering why I felt so disappointed with the names in this match. At the end of the show, I'm looking back at the show, and I'm like, the X Division match was probably one of the most disappointing. Not that it was bad at all, but it was one of the more disappointing matches on the show. There was like the main event, and then even Moose and Eddie Edwards was really good. And you got even AJ Francis and Elijah. They really put on a good match. I look back at it, and I'm like, why did this end up being so weak? So I was kind of disappointed by that. I don't know. I don't know much about the old X Division matches because I didn't really watch TNA. That wasn't my deal. But I do know how crazy they got. I seen the clips and So
no. But I mean, look. I mean, you have these cables and you have people scurrying across these cables 12 feet above the ring, hanging upside down. So it's an inherently dangerous match. And you had a couple of guys in there, a couple of veterans in Red and Frankie Kazarian who, are hanging upside down from cables in the ring. I don't want them to do anything, too crazy. But then you had Cedric stealing the belt at the end, which I thought was a lame way for it to end.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. It's not going to rank up there as like one of the best Ultimate X matches they've ever done. But again, you and I have seen Red a number of times, even just this year. So it was no surprise to see him in there doing his thing. Leon Slater is one of the best young talents anywhere, frankly, in the world right now. So we know what he can deliver. And everybody played their part. Everybody had, I think, like a moment to shine in the match. I don't think it was a terribly long match.
Like 12, 13 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't overly long or anything like that. So I thought, as an opening match, it was fine. It was fine. And then we had, of course, the nice surprise when it was over, which I kind of sensed, once Kazarian got on the mic and he was putting over Red on the microphone. And then, of course, as soon as he directed his attention to the video wall, I kind of knew what was coming. And we get this great, tribute video to Red, capped off by the announcement that he will be joining the class of 2026 in the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame. So he joined. Now, ODB, they had already announced her back in April. So she's part of this year's class. And then they announced Red, and I just thought to myself, this is perfect. Like, it's well-deserved. But when you talk about the X Division, you talk about the X Division Championship, he was a pioneer in that. You know what I mean? Like, he goes back. He's one of those OGs from the early days who helped pioneer that style, that whole division. He was one of those guys. And so it only makes sense for him to take his spot. We know there's a lot of names that are still left out of that Hall of Fame, right? AJ Styles is at the top of that list as far as I'm concerned. But you cannot doubt the place that Red has when you look back at the old days, the OG days of TNA, and then what he does today, where he's still influencing a whole new generation of talent because he's still teaching. People are still sitting under the learning tree. And so his influence is felt all over the place. It's a very well-deserved induction, and I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, I'd be lying to you if I didn't have a little watery eyes during this segment, especially when Mike Santana came out and he kind of stood on the stage. It's like, oh man, that shit really got me right there. Yeah. This was a great moment. Nobody deserves it more than Red. Jason and I owe a lot to Red for giving us a platform and an opportunity to tell the stories that we do on House of Glory, and we are forever indebted to him. He's more influential, I said on my end, more influential now, in my opinion, than he was at any point in his career. And he's still rocking and rolling just as good as anybody else that he influenced at his early age, which is unbelievable. So, again, much deserved. Congratulations to him. We love him, and that's going to be an amazing moment for him. So that match ended. Cedric won, retained the championship. We'll find out what happens to Leon Slater, if he stays or if he goes. Nobody knows anything yet. Nothing's broke there. We'll touch upon Mike Santana a little bit later because he is on his way out the door. Elijah and AJ Francis had a decent match here. The story was that Elijah refused to collaborate with AJ Francis on some music, so AJ purchased some rights to Elijah's name, likeness, and music. They ended up having a... I know. I know. I mean, it's...
It reminded me of, I don't know if you would be familiar with this, but there was a terrible storyline in the later days of WCW where Booker T can no longer use the letter T in his name. And legally, he was not able to call himself Booker T. And it was
sounds like a Chris Jericho storyline.
Yeah, well, that's every bit as just ridiculous as it sounds. So I don't know if this is quite that ridiculous, but this is still pretty ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
Now, I heard you putting this match over.
Yeah, I said something on Twitter, yes.
Yeah, but so you were really putting this match over hard. And I hadn't watched it yet
not hard.
No. You would put this match over like this was some big fucking revelation or something. And so I'm like, all right, I was going to catch up anyway with some of the other stuff on the show. Again, I haven't seen the entire show, but I saw what I needed to see. And so I watched it. And my takeaway from it is it was a good match, but honestly, like when I was hearing like what you wrote and what you were saying, I was like expecting something like, oh my God, this is gonna knock my socks off or something. And then I watched it and I'm like, he's all right. Like
this guy's making it sound like I put this was like the second coming of Undertaker Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25.
No, but you were putting it over pretty hard. I said
it was as good. It had, what did I say? I didn't expect it to be that good. Like, I expected it to suck, just seeing who was in the ring, honestly. That's you want my honest opinion. I thought it was going to be bad. It ended up being pretty decent. I don't remember Elijah having that good of a match in WWE ever. So it's like, all right, the guy's still doing his thing. And AJ Francis, I got to give him some fucking credit. He's actually moving around a lot better than I remember him. And he's actually coming into his own. He seems like he's having a good time, and he's in decent shape there. He's moving around well, putting a good match together. I can't shit on it, Those are my feelings there. I don't know.
Okay.
No, they're not my promotion of the year this year. If you're wondering, okay, just
you're never going to live that down. I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you live that down.
No, they're not my promotion of the year this year. So nobody's got anything to worry about there. Elijah won. He got a brand new LED guitar at the end of the match. I mean, the guitar was really nice, but hopefully he knows what he's doing with it. We got the tag team championships. Elegance Brand versus Demon Bunny. That's Rosemary and Allie. New tag team champions there. Honestly, I kind of zoned out here. I didn't really know much coming in, and I didn't really care coming out. The next match was Mustafa Ali, Rich Swann, and a debuting, Jason, former Apollo Crews in Uhaa Nation. Now, we'll start there with Apollo Crews ending up in TNA. Nobody really knew what his contractual status was. He was a part of the last budget cuts, and a lot of people were probably thinking that he was stuck with that 90-day non-compete clause, but it looked like he was one of those guys that they just said, you know what, we're not bringing you back. We're going to let your contract lapse, and then you can go and do whatever you want, and TNA scooped him up. I think this is a great place for him, and I think he's going to do very well here.
Yeah, I mean, that was the person who I had, predicted it would probably be. Once it was PW Insider who said that TNA was debuting a former WWE talent that had been a multi-time singles champion. And I said, well, they didn't say world champion. They said multi-time singles champion. And I kind of looked at it and said, well, who's going to be available? Apollo Crews, former Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, talented guy. Where's he going to land? This just made sense. And for TNA, I think it makes sense. He's a very talented guy. I think that some people probably have forgotten how good he really can be, because in WWE, when you're there for so long and you're only slotted at a certain level, you kind of get forgotten about, right? That's what happened with him. He was forgotten about. He became just another guy in the roster. When he finally came back from the injury that he had, he was hanging around in these random backstage segments, talking to Matt Cardona and not doing anything else. And so he was never gonna go anywhere if he stayed there. I think to save his career, he needed to leave and go somewhere else. I don't know if he has aspirations of ending up back in WWE, but if he does, even better, right, for him to land in TNA because they have the working relationship there. So I think that he'll do well. Him and Eichner both kind of fall into the same category to me, where neither one of them are going to be a needle mover for them in like a major way, but they're super talented guys who I think add a lot to that roster and can go out there and have great wrestling matches.
No, I agree 100%. That's a great pickup for them, as is Eichner as well. He's excellent. This was a great match, and if you guys tuned into House of Glory last time we were on Triller TV, you would have saw Mustafa Ali and Rich Swann. They had a great match for the International Championship, and Rich Swann was actually in the ring with Ali again on Sunday night. I actually enjoyed the House of Glory match more than I did this one, just being honest there. But this was still great. All three guys excellent. The debut of Uhaa Nation, really good for TNA. The end of the match saw Tasha Steelz distract Uhaa on the outside. Special Agent Zero piled ring steps on top of him. Not really a great closing image for his TNA debut, but that's the way they got him out of the match. Ali survived a swan kick, caught up with him with a bridging suplex, and got the 3 count to retain. So that was the International Championship here on Slammiversary. Still champion Ali. No surrender match. Moose went one-on-one with Eddie Edwards. This was I didn't know what was going on here. All I know is that Moose and Eddie Edwards were part of the system. And this is obviously 2 former stablemates going at it. But you would think, Jason, by the way that they produced this match and got everybody going towards the end, that this was like the biggest match on the show. Everybody really played their part well. And for me watching TNA and kind of jumping in cold to see how hot this match was and how the ending was just really chaotic in a really good way, this was really good stuff here. So Moose's son, he was in the crowd. Moose's wife was there as well. And Edwards grabbed him, the son, and pulled him into the ring. So at one point, Moose's son hit a low blow to get free, and Moose's wife slapped Alicia Edwards, Eddie Edwards' wife. Moose then broke 2 zip ties that were tied around his wrists with his bare hands. He freed himself, speared Eddie Edwards twice. JDC on the outside threw Moose a chain. He wrapped it himself in it, speared Eddie Edwards for a 3rd time, and then busted him open. And then Moose lined up for a spear, put Edwards through a table. Alicia ran in between them, and Moose threw in the towel to save, what's his name? Alicia ran between them and threw in the towel to save her husband. So post-match, JDC hit Edwards with a stunner, and Moose speared both Edwards through the table anyway, closing this match out. This was really good stuff here. I didn't expect it to be that good, but it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take your word for it. This is one of the matches I didn't see. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. No, I again, like everything. This might have been, I don't remember when in the pay-per-view this came on, but I was kind of getting situated for the other 2 events that were coming on, and so this was one of the matches I still have to go back and watch.
This is a lot better than the Elijah and AJ Francis match.
Yes, I heard that. I heard that this was actually one of the better matches on the show, the entire show. So, which is not surprising. Again, 2 talented guys in there, 2 veterans that have been there for forever. And Moose, like, honestly, a lot of the stuff we saw with Moose when he was doing stuff in NXT, him and Oba, right? Him and Oba had a match. I was very impressed by what I saw from Moose, even back then. So I'm not surprised that they would be able to go out there, and if they have the story to back it up, which clearly they did, then you would expect them to go out there and have one of the better matches on the show.
Yeah, Moose is very, very consistent, which is very good. Lei Ying Lee. This is the Knockouts World. Yeah, there you go. Knockouts World Championship here against Xia Brookside. This former tag team partners who turned enemies here. Xia is the heel, and the former Xia Lee is the babyface. We got a new champion here. Xia won her first singles championship since starting pro wrestling. So this was a big win for her, and she wins it by nefarious means here. She sent Xia into the exposed turnbuckle that happened to be there in the late stages of this match. Brookside had ripped off the cover earlier in the match. Xia hit the dark side and pinned Lei Ying Lee for the championship. 1, 2, 3, and that was it. So she is someone that was former NXT UK, and then went to, I don't know, was she on NXT proper? I don't remember seeing her there.
I don't believe so. No.
So she,
I mean, if she was, I think it was just maybe an appearance here and there.
Yeah.
But she was basically the UK brand.
Yeah, she was NXT UK, jumped ship to TNA, took a little bit to get going, and now she's the Knockouts champion. So good for her. That's a big deal for her.
Yeah.
Tag team title match. This was a 4-way system against the Broken Hardys. So they were broken on this evening. The Righteous, yeah. Broken Hardys, Righteous, and Great Hands. So this was a 4-way ladder match, and Great Hands of the Order 4, Ali's boys. So this was as crazy as you expect it to be with the Hardys in there. I'm watching this and I'm like, man, Matt and Jeff don't need to do this shit, but you can tell that they fucking love doing this shit. Yeah. They're in there and everybody's doing their thing. At one point, the Righteous, they brought out a wicked ladder, apparently, from the garden. And it was wrapped in flowers and barbed wire. Vincent, at one point, shoved a flower into Brian Myers' mouth. Now, this was poisonous. I don't remember what the commentary team said, but the flower incapacitated him, and he passed out falling off the ladder. So Bear Bronson came right back. He slammed Vincent with a big move on top of the wicked ladder. The finish of this match saw Bronson and Dutch climb both sides of the ladder and traded shots at the top while the Hardys pushed the ladder over, sending both guys through 4 tables that were set up at ringside. And the crowd lost their minds at this. They were going crazy. Jeff decided, you know what, that's not enough. So he took the wicked ladder that was wrapped in barbed wire and hit a swanton bomb onto both of the Great Hands, who were laid out on a ladder bridge that extended from the apron to the barricade. And then they both climbed up to win the tag team championships back. What is that, 4 or 5 times? I lost count. 5-time TNA tag team champion?
It's been a lot. It's been a lot. And like you said, I mean, craziness, but I do watch the Hardys in these matches, and I just think to myself, it always feels like they're in a ladder match. And I'm like, man, at some point, they should just give the ladder stuff a rest. You know what I mean? Because it's just like every single time they're jumping off the ladders, they're doing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, I mean, how much more can they take? And they're such a vital part of that TNA roster. They have to be the number one big draw and attraction still in TNA. Have to be.
Yeah.
And so it's very important, I think, that they are, healthy. And they're able to continue to go out there because, especially in this AMC era, going forward now, they're going to have this new creative regime. You definitely want to have the Hardys healthy and be able to feature them as much as possible. But there they are, still jumping off ladders and doing what they've been doing for over 25 years, which is kind of crazy considering some of the wild matches they had 25 years ago. And they're still out there doing their thing. So I wasn't surprised they would get the belts on them. I do wonder, though, was this the time to put them on the Righteous?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I was actually surprised that they won the belts back, the Hardys. I thought we were kind of moving on from that.
Because they had them just recently.
Yeah.
And they just put them back on them. And like I said, I can understand why, given that they're their biggest attraction. But I was kind of surprised. I was expecting the Righteous to kind of get the nod here, and that didn't happen. So if there was anything that surprised me about this, that would be it.
Well, what I was thinking, maybe you have the same line of thinking. I don't know what the whole vibe is now with the turnover in TNA. How much excitement there is with Tommy Dreamer leaving and possibly Road Dogg coming in and a new creative team. It's like a new chapter. Do you think TNA decided to put the belts on the Hardys to kind of do a reset here because they look at this as a new chapter and they want 2 of their the biggest guys in the company as the tag team champions moving forward with this new kind of era coming with the new creative team?
Well, I mean, if it was truly going to be a new era, then they would have definitely put the belts on the Righteous. So I think it just comes down to them wanting the belts on 2 of the biggest stars in their company.
Yeah.
And they just felt like we have to have our tag team titles on them. Because, I mean, at this point, the Hardys are made men. You know what I mean? Like, they're bulletproof. If they have the belts, great. If they don't have the belts, it doesn't diminish their drawing power, their star power. Maybe there's some sort of plan for them to drop them in a different match to whether it's the Righteous or somebody else. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I mean, if you really want to say, well, maybe they want a fresh start, a new era and all that, I don't think they would have put the belts right back on the Hardys. That was kind of what was a little weird to me. But I can understand why they would want them on them because they're the biggest stars they have.
Well, they are the tag team champions again, and the Hardys remain one of the, if not the biggest tag team act in all of pro wrestling still. It's amazing. Main event, TNA Championship, Mike Santana champion, Nick Nemeth challenger. Nemeth is cashing in his trophy to call his shot against Mike Santana.
If I never hear the words cash in again on a wrestling show, it will not be a day too soon.
Well, now you got the king of the bank is what they should
King
call
of the
it.
bank.
Yeah, king of the bank. Because
How long before they start?
I can't tell the
doing that
difference.
How long before they do that with the Rumble one year? You know what?
You may lose your mind over that if that happens.
I think I'll set it aside for Backlash. We'll do WrestleMania Backlash. How about that?
Well, you already tried that with Cody. You see how well that worked out.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, Mike Santana and Nick Nemeth, main event here. Before the match, a video tribute that was narrated by Mike Santana to Conan, and he announced Conan will be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame alongside Amazing Red, who got announced in the beginning of the show, and then ODB. So I like the fact that TNA gets out their Hall of Fame announcements and kind of spreads it out through the year. WWE should take a lesson or two with that instead of waiting fucking 3 weeks before WrestleMania. But yeah, that was a great video package. Really, really classy having Mike Santana do that. Shows how much influence Conan had over him and everybody else. This match, Jason, was easily the best match of the night. I really enjoyed this. I put my phone down. I watched two pros go to work, and they did not disappoint. And we'll pick it up at the end here because a lot of this was a feel-out process in the beginning. And then at one point, Nick Nemeth went for Danger Zone, and crowd was going crazy. Both men traded shots middle of the ring. Santana started taking over, big spin kick. He went for that rolling clothesline. Nemeth kicked out. DVD off the ropes. Nemeth kicked out again. Nemeth hits that beautiful DDT out of the corner. Landed the Danger Zone. And Santana got his feet on the ropes to break the count. Nemeth hit a super kick. Santana no-sold it. Immediately hit spin the block. Nemeth kicked out. He then threw another super kick. Santana kicked out at a 1, which we saw a lot of on Forbidden Door. Santana fired up and hit a super kick. He went for spin the block again to finish it, but he was bleeding, and he was busted open in the beginning of the match. That caught up to him. He just fainted when he was in the middle of spin the block. Nemeth picks him up, Danger Zone one more time, and that is it. Nick Nemeth is the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Nemeth's brother, Ryan Nemeth, came out to celebrate. They popped the bottles of champagne, and they go off the air with a new World Heavyweight Champion amidst the rumors that Mike Santana has wrestled his last match with TNA. This is according to PW Insider. He headlined the show with Nick Nemeth. He is not scheduled to appear at the television tapings that TNA is holding in Albany, New York this Wednesday and Thursday. And the report says, Jason, that Santana's TNA deal is expiring in mere days. Does not give an exact date for when he will hit free agency. But the expectation is that his contract is going to come up mid-July, and he's headed to WWE.
I mean, this is my shocked face.
Yes, I know.
We both expected this. I mean, when the reports first started surfacing weeks ago, maybe even months ago, that his contract was going to be up in the summer. I think it was more like in the summer. We didn't know like if it was July, August. We didn't know. Even at that point, I think you and I probably had the same thought, which is that he's as good as gone. He gave, I think, an extra year to TNA because there were reports even last year maybe that his contract was coming up, and I think he re-signed, which I think for him was a good thing because he got to go now the majority of this year as the champion. You know, he was the face of that brand. He got to have all of these, main event matches and everything. So I think that was a good thing. And now it's time for him to move on because we know WWE has an interest in him. We know they brought him into NXT before. And I think that was probably always the goal, right? He wasn't going back to AEW. He wasn't going back to, work for Tony Khan with the expectation that he was going to get some big singles push because that was never going to happen. And so he's going to go to WWE. The only question is, would they start him on the main roster? Are they going to start him in NXT? I don't know. I would guess NXT, but maybe not, right? So it's weird how that works. Some people will debut. Most of the time, it'll be NXT. Every now and then, somebody will pop up and it'll be on Raw or it'll be on SmackDown. I think it just boils down to where do they have a need on the roster at any given moment. If there is a spot where they see Mike Santana as being able to help them, let's say on SmackDown, then maybe he'll go straight to the main roster. I'm kind of indifferent to it. I don't think it matters either way. I think he'll thrive. I think he'll do well. I think he's going to be a big asset to that roster, and the sky's the limit. You know, he proved a lot of people wrong who never saw him as anything more than a tag team guy. And he showed that he can go out there and be a world champion. So the sky's the limit for him. And you and I know how hard he works and where he came from, the journey he's been on, the sobriety, like all of it. It's a great story. And now WWE will be able to tell that story.
Yeah, I hope that WWE knows what they're getting in him. If there's a roster that needs to be assembled and I have my choice of guys to pick, he's definitely at the top of the list for sure, personally. I see a lot of people already kind of dumbing down the report that he's going to go to WWE. Oh, he's going to get buried. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. He's not as good as everybody says he is. Yes, he is. Okay, you could fucking end that nonsense, number one. Number two, it's not up to him. Mike Santana is going to show up to work every single night he's there. It's up to the writing team to know what they have in him. So I'm not going to write him off because the WWE product is terrible. That's unfair. So I hope that they know what they're getting in him. He can easily slot into a Raw and SmackDown tomorrow if they want him. If Leon Slater and Mike Santana are coming to WWE, I'm putting Slater on NXT and I'm putting Mike Santana on the main roster. I'm not putting both of them in NXT. But if one or the other, I mean, if they get one, only one, I can see Santana do 6 months in NXT, but I think he's above that. I think that would be a waste of his time, don't you think?
Yeah, but I mean, we could say that about most of the people that they bring in. You know, most of the people who are not rookies that have, you know, either they're veterans or they've worked television somewhere else. Like, we've been down this road before. You could say that about 95% of the people they signed.
Joe Henry worked NXT for 6 months.
Yeah, and he was popping out of garbage cans and from behind walls and shit, which honestly, I don't know that would be much worse than what they have him doing now. But yeah, so I mean, we've heard this story before. And some guys will look at it and go, I need that time, or I want that time in NXT. And AJ Styles has been very vocal about how he wishes he would have started in NXT because it's just a big sea change from where he came from. But Mike Santana's already been there. He's worked NXT. He's worked shows at the Performance Center. He's worked television in TNA and AEW. So he's one of those guys where he probably doesn't need it. Maybe he wants it. Again, if he ends up down there, I agree. I don't think it would be for a terribly long time. And look, wherever he lands, I wish him well. He's earned this opportunity. He's worked his ass off to get to this point. Like you said, I hope WWE will understand and appreciate, you know, what they have in him and what he brings to the table. And hopefully the rest of the world will get to see that soon enough.
Absolutely. So good luck to him. Looking forward to seeing what he does in WWE. I'll leave it up to you, man. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about, first of all, before I get into the next series of topics here, I know you said you missed that one match. Overall, what'd you think of Slammiversary? I thought it was a good step forward after all the bad news that they got last week.
Yeah, I mean, it was the kind of show that they needed.
Yeah.
It was better than last year's Slammiversary.
Yes, I agree.
So I will say that. So I think on the whole, it was a very good show. And I think that now everything changes now because, first of all, Road Dogg is not officially in TNA. As of the latest report, just so everyone's clear on this, and this came from Mike Johnson, he has not put pen to paper and signed with them yet, but it sounds like they're working out and ironing out the details of what that deal is going to look like. So if he hasn't signed by the time, you know, all of you are watching this or listening to this, it sounds like it's something that probably will happen imminently. But the belief is that he's not going to be heading the creative team. Right now, that still is Delirious. And Delirious has worked in creative in this company for many, many years. So are we going to see some sort of radical overnight creative change in TNA? We may not, because they still have someone running creative there who's been there for a very long time. Road Dogg, if he comes in, he is someone new who will have some new ideas that he brings to the table. And I don't know if he'll have final say over certain things. But this is kind of the start of a new regime. It's the start. We've had many eras of TNA over the years. We'll get a sense of it at their TV tapings this week, like what that new direction is going to look like. It's almost like pushing the reset button. So it was a good night for them. But what TNA looks like for the remainder of 2026 remains to be seen. A lot of it is going to depend on this new team, how they work together, what ideas they have. Who do they see as like the top stars to put front and center on the poster? If you had 4, 5, 6 people, that you were going to put front and center to lead the way for TNA. The Hardys, obviously, will be there. Nemeth is their champion. Ali should be on there. And frankly, I think Ali should be in the spot that Nemeth is in at some point because he's just too good not to be. And then the question is, who else do you build around? Ricky Sosa, right? Ricky Sosa is, and I was kind of surprised that they bumped his match to the pre-show.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I remember seeing that as part of the main show. When did they do that?
I don't know. And I think they were shooting an angle around it on the main TV show and everything. And then so it was surprising to see it bumped to the pre-show like that. But Ricky Sosa is tremendous. And so he's one of those rising young stars like a Leon Slater that they should kind of build around as part of their core. But again, the problem with TNA is you don't know how much of that talent they're going to be able to retain. 6 months, a year from now, you would hope Ricky Sosa is still there. Leon Slater is still there. You would want to build around them. Can they? You know, do they feel like they are in it for the long haul? And if so, then they can build around those guys. But we just don't know. So this next 6 months is going to be a very important time for them.
Well, the one thing that I know is watching this show is the easiest watch for me all weekend. They fit a lot of great stuff into 3 hours. They didn't overstay their welcome. And the roster that they had on that show, I mean, it's very difficult for me to watch that show and think that they're not producing good television with the amount of talent that they have in that company. Even still, even after all the departures. They got a great roster there.
They have a good roster, but so what? I mean, you could have the most talented, athletic roster in the world, but it all comes down to how do you use it? What's the creative? What are the stories behind it? What is the rhyme or reason that this guy is feuding with that guy? And are you putting together matches and stories that people are going to want to see? This is Pro Wrestling 101 when it comes to weekly television. And we talk about it with other companies as well. You could put together all the great matches in the world. That's great. But it takes more than just that, right? Are you putting together 2-hour shows every single week that are keeping people coming back? And this is the struggle for TNA. You have WWE. You have AEW. Two very different styles. They got the market cornered on that. Where does TNA fit in? How do they carve out a piece for themselves that makes them stand out from all the rest? I didn't even mention NXT, which has a bunch of, younger talents, and they kind of throw shit at the wall to see what sticks. Where does TNA fit in?
What does that look like? They're trying to be kind of sports entertainment and then try to do fucking we're the best wrestle with AEW too. Like they're trying to be both companies.
Well, I mean, if you could kind of take the best of both and maybe fuse them together in some way, that might be the best option for them, because brand identity has been a problem for them. Yeah. They don't have one that really makes them stand out. I don't think they figured it out yet.
Now, hopefully they do. They really need to get on their feet. Hopefully this creative shakeup is exactly what they need. Now, as far as creative, they have yet a new championship in the women's division, another one. So we have the Knockouts Tag Team titles, the Knockouts title, and now we have the Knockouts TV title, which beginning on Thursday is the start of the tournament. This is a 16-woman tournament with the names that I have here as follows, because they posted it on their social media. Rosemary M. by Elegance, Wendy Chu, who is a part of Evolve, Elena Black, Thea Hale, who's in NXT. So we're getting a mix of WWE and TNA talent here. Harley Hudson, Vicky Venuto, Indy Hartwell, Jada Stone, Alicia Edwards, Jody Threat, Gabby Forza, which is a great pickup for that. I don't know why she's not there to begin with.
Yeah, Gabby's great.
Yeah, I don't. Hopefully, maybe she wins the whole thing. Mara Sade, Tasha Steeles, Heather by Elegance, and Allie. So those are the 16 women there. A nice mix of some NXT talent, some TNA talent. So that's what you guys got to look forward to there. I don't know if they needed another new championship. I doubt that they even have a healthy tag team division for the women, but here we are with another title.
I'll pay him a compliment here. It's a hell of a lot better than the TNA Digital Media Championship, whatever the fuck that was supposed to be.
Is that still around or no? Is that gone?
I don't think so. It's been retired, I believe. It's gone the way of the 24/7 title.
The digital media title.
They've gotten hitched in Vegas and they've run off together. The two titles have.
Oh my God.
I wish them well.
Stop with the worthless titles, please. We don't need any more new titles. I mean, just book the fucking show the way that you need to. No more new titles. It's not a participation trophy. Anyway, that was TNA. Really good stuff on Sunday afternoon, and hopefully they could get back on their feet. I'll leave it to you, man. What do you want to talk about? I'll leave you to AEW or WWE. Which you want to tackle first here?
Oh, man.
The Forbidden Door, man.
You want to start with the Forbidden Door?
I think so, because if we end with AEW, I think we'll lose half of our fucking audience, honestly. I'm just being honest.
We'll go to AEW.
All right.
We'll go to AEW.
So the Forbidden Door happened on Sunday night. I am still feeling the ramifications, the global ramifications, apparently, because that's what the name of the game was. Everything was a fucking global ramification on Sunday night. I don't know what they were, but that's what they ran with. The pre-show, not going to go over anything specific here, but there was a 0 hour, believe it or not. Drilla Maloney and Danny Garcia. They had Micah versus Sky Blue. This was a survival of the fittest match, which we will be crowning a new TBS champion on Wednesday.
Yeah. So let's stop there.
Yeah.
So we now have the full field of 6 has been set. Let's see if I could do this off my memory here.
Okay.
Chris Statlander.
Yes.
Hikaru Shida.
Yes.
Micah. Queen Aminata. Persephone. I'm missing one. Harley Cameron.
Yes. There you go.
That's 6?
That's
okay,
6.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. So that's the field of 6. Now I'm a little confused. So they have started airing return vignettes on television for Willow Nightingale.
I said the same thing on Wednesday.
who had to vacate her TBS championship last month due to a shoulder injury. And now they're airing vignettes, and apparently, and I saw Fightful had a report that it sounds like Willow could be back as soon as the next few weeks, like early to mid-July, she may be back. I would hope what that means is that whatever the injury is or was, it turned out to not be as serious as they feared, because otherwise, I'm confused on why they felt the need to strip her of the belt if she was only going to miss maybe 6 weeks.
Or
because, yeah,
maybe she wasn't injured at all.
Well, I mean, it's a possibility, but I still don't like. There was a report, I think Meltzer was the one, who said that Willow had been tabbed to win the Owen. Like originally, Tony Storm was going to be the one. Tony Storm had to go away, and so then it was going to be Willow, and it probably would have come down to Willow and Suri if Suri hadn't been hurt. That may well have ended up being the final for the Owen. So if that's true, then it doesn't make any sense why they would have, pretended she had an injury and took her out of it. To me, I don't know if I buy that, right? I can't say it's impossible, but I don't know that I necessarily subscribe to that. It would seem to me like maybe she just ended up not being as injured as they thought, or she didn't need surgery. I mean, at some point we'll find out the details here. Because Tony Khan chose to wait and crown a new champion this week. He's had these qualifying matches. We've gone over a month without a TBS champion. Willow's about to come back, and they still haven't even crowned a new champion yet. So it just seems kind of pointless to me to strip her in the first place, unless they got good news and they found out that they can get her back sooner. Otherwise, none of this makes any sense to me. So
no, I said the same thing. It's very weird. I'm just glad he didn't do the interim championship garbage that he usually did back in the day,
or like a battle royal or something. Like I didn't even mind the idea of doing this match, but again, like, it's taken this long to get the field of 6 together, and only now are we going to crown a new champion. And I'm like watching the show, and like Willow is coming back. I'm like, what? I thought she was going to be gone for months.
Well, yeah, me too. Now I'm looking at the field of 6, and I'm trying to figure out who's the best course of action here. I mean, I think Queen Aminata should win this match.
That's what I said. Yeah, I mean, I said that on Wednesday in my review. I said I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or not, but Aminata is someone who, if you remember last year, was starting to get a bit of a push. Actually, if you remember, the first time I really took notice of her was the feud with Tekla.
Yes. Yeah, they beat the shit out of each other.
They hated each other. And so for like weeks and weeks and weeks, these two women were feuding and brawling and just laying into each other. I'm like, man, this feels like they really have a hatred of each other. So that was the first time I really took notice of both of them. And so she was getting a bit of a push, and then she got hurt. And I think she had to be pulled from Blood and Guts, and it was just terrible timing. So she just came back a few months ago. She hasn't really gotten going yet. I look at this and I'm like, you know what? If he wants to push her, kind of restart the push, this is the way to do it. And this is, I think, a good use of the TBS title. If he's serious about pushing her, she would be a great candidate, I think, because Chris Statlander doesn't need it. Shida doesn't need it. I'd love Persephone. I mean, she's already got the CMLL women's title. And then you're left with Harley, who's not winning. Micah, who's not winning. And then Aminata. So why not Aminata?
What's the best course of action here going into All In? Because the way I thought about it is if she's coming back now, I don't know why they stripped her of the championship. I mean, we've seen more egregious injuries and people keeping or bookers keeping the championship on somebody, just that so they don't have to vacate it and do something like this. Does she come back and go after the TBS title, or does she go after the women's championship? Because Redemption is coming up, and if she was slated to win the Owen, maybe she wins the world championship and goes into Wembley as the champion and wrestles Mercedes again. You think that's a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I do. And the last match they had, Mercedes lost. This is Mercedes' redemption, potentially, at Wembley Stadium, where she can get her win back. Only this time she wins the world championship. So I could, and again, assuming that Willow is going to be back in these next few weeks, you would need time to set that match up for the July pay-per-view. But if that's the case, I could absolutely see that.
Yeah, that would be sad for Tekla, because Tekla's had a very good. I wouldn't say it's a good run, but Tekla has made the championship for sure, and I feel like she's just come into her own. So that would be kind of shitty to take it off of her before going into Wembley. But we'll figure that out on Wednesday. We got a new TBS champion coming with the Survival of the Fittest match. Divine Dominion, Thunder Rosa, and Olympia. This was the women's tag team titles. How they've fallen off the face of the earth pre-show. So Divine Dominion retains, more than likely going into Wembley to defend against the Brawling Birds at All In. So we start this very, very long show with a three-way tag team match. And before I get into that, I need to make sure you guys are aware of the news. Tony Khan posted on social media today, and I'm not sure if it was due to all the criticism that he, I'm sure, got at the end of Sunday night, early Monday morning. He tweets out 3 hours ago, "Thank you for all for all who watched AEW for our upcoming AEW Redemption pay-per-view in Montreal on Sunday, July 26th. I've moved the start time to 1 hour earlier than the tremendous recent AEW pay-per-views. The buy-in will be at 6 Eastern, and the pay-per-view will start at 7 Eastern." Now, I know you watched the show Sunday night, Jason. Unfortunately, you were the wise one here and did not go live. I, like a dummy, went live. I didn't get to bed till 5 a.m.
Look at this dipshit
I know.
here.
I know. I'm a fucking never fucking look at me anything but a sicko. I'm a sicko, but I'm a smart sicko.
First thing I thought of, like, as I'm watching the and I wasn't even going live, and I'm like, I can't believe that the show's still on. And the first thing I thought of, I said, I thought of you. You were the first one I thought of. I said, man, he never learns.
I never learn. I got to figure something out. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I haven't tackled it yet. But Jason, this show started at 8 o'clock. And it didn't go off the air till 12:45. I had my fucking iPhone home screen ingrained in my face because I looked at the phone when the match was starting between Ospreay and Swerve. Bro, 12:13 a.m. Eastern time. I'm like, what the fuck? What are we doing here? And you knew they were going to go at least 30 minutes. I'm like, are we ever going to get out of here? How much of a problem is this, man? Because you watch the show, you feel it, you've gone live. And I'm not even speaking as far as us being content creators because, we do what we do. We choose to do what we do. But I don't know anybody who wants to watch an absorbent amount of wrestling like that. I feel like when wrestling is great, wrestling in moderation is where it's at its best. Bro, you had this three-way tag team match and Kenny Omega, Zack Sabre Jr. eat up the entire first hour of the show. I knew we were in for a long night there. And this is what boggles my mind, Double or Nothing was such a great fucking show. From top to bottom, everything flowed. Okada and Takeshita only went 18 minutes. Ospreay and Samoa Joe went 14 minutes. Darby and MJF went 22 minutes. Every match on this show was nearing 20 minutes plus, bro. I didn't know what to do. Why did they fall on their sword again? What happened?
Oh, I just think, Tony wants to give them as much leeway as he can. I don't know how, when it comes to the match times on these pay-per-views, and again, this one you had some international talents that came in. I don't know if it's Tony saying, look, this is how much time you have and that's it, or if he's giving them the latitude to go, like if they come to him and say, hey, we need 20 minutes, and he's like, okay, sure. Okay, but if everybody does that, 20 here, 25 there, 22 there, 18 there, it adds up. It's a lot. So I don't know what was so different about this show. But look, you said before, like, nobody, like, who could possibly want this much wrestling? Dude, there are a lot of people. Like, these are his fans. He knows this. He's catering to his hardcore audience who you can never give them enough great wrestling. So you can't say that nobody wants that. There are absolutely people out there who, when that show was over, thought, man, this is I could go another hour and get another 4 or 5 matches. There are people like that. And part of it also is, like, we watched the TNA show. Some people may have tried to watch as much of all 3 shows as possible, even though it was impossible to do NXT and AEW at the same. Well, I guess not impossible. You could have 2 screens going. I don't know how many people would have been doing that. So that probably added to your irritation, because you also watched the TNA pay-per-view, right? So you already watched 3 hours of that, and now you had another 5 hours of this. That's too much wrestling. 7 hours, 8 hours of wrestling, it's too much. It's too much as it is. Tony, though, I think, again, you can never give the people enough of the money they're paying for these shows. They were in San Jose, so they're out on the West Coast. And when it comes to the shows that aren't in the Eastern time zone, like Double or Nothing was, I just think he doesn't necessarily look at that as a priority, because where they were, it was earlier, right? They're 3 hours behind us. And so they're starting earlier in the day. And by the time it's over, it's only 9:30, 9:45 where they are. So he doesn't feel it, and those people love it. And it's everybody else who's like, in some cases, dude, I have work in the morning, or I got to take the kids to school. Everyone's got their reason or their excuse. And for some people, they might be okay with that. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to watch all of it. I'll watch half of it, go to sleep, and then I'll catch up with it the next day. That's not how a lot of people like to watch their wrestling, though. They want to be able to watch the whole thing from start to finish. And that becomes a problem when the show is, going off the air that late. So I'm sure that's why he made the decision. And all I'm going to say about that is, great. Like, we could sit here and mock it. Well, now he'll just use that extra hour to add 3 more matches. And I don't know. Maybe he will. I certainly hope he fucking doesn't do that. I'm just happy that he bumped it up an hour. Would 2 hours be better? Sure. But I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth here. 7 o'clock start for the main card is much better than 8 o'clock. All in, we won't have to worry about that because of the time zone difference. That's going to be, what is that going to be? 1 o'clock in the afternoon, probably.
Yeah.
That show is starting. So that'll be great. I'm just happy he made a move here. I didn't think he would do it. People have been crowing about this for so long. He felt dug in. And then you see people online, well, he's obligated to go, 4 hours. It's per the contract. First of all, no one's seen the fucking contract, so you don't know that. That's number one.
He's obligated.
Yeah, he's obligated. And number 2, okay, you're talking about 4 hours. We're talking about 5 hours here. Like, this was as AEW shows go. Was this the longest one?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
It felt like. I can't ever remember an AEW pay-per-view where the main event, it's like ding, 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 the bell rings. It starts at 12:13 or 12:15 a.m. I don't remember that.
I could be off. I think the latest they've ever gone was maybe 12:25, 12:30, maybe 12:45.
Ending, though. Ending.
Yes, ending, yes.
Right. I'm talking about the main event starting at 12:15.
No, never. I never seen a main event start at that late.
Yeah, I mean, so that's just ridiculous. It's an extreme example. So this should alleviate some of that. We'll find out the first time they do it. I guess redemption. We'll see. But I'm just happy he made a change. Right. Something had to be done, and I'm glad he made the change.
Well, San Jose was the only city that Tony Khan realized was. That's the only city that mattered to him. Like Jason said, there was no other city, there was no other place in the entire world that even existed. He lived in an alternate universe. He didn't give a shit about any other time zone.
But
any other city.
I will say, and it's still not as bad as it is for our friends over in like parts of Europe and stuff. I've gained a greater appreciation for what they go through and have gone through for decades. Like even with the WWE shows, where if you want to stay up and watch those shows live, like they're up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and so this is not even as bad as that necessarily, but I have gained a greater appreciation for what they kind of go through in these situations. They're probably looking at us going, lightweights.
Yeah.
Look at what they're bitching about.
Pussies.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you guys do it over there? What is the strategy to actually pull an all-nighter to watch AEW or WWE?
You gotta take a nap. You got
to.
You have to take a nap for a few hours at least. How else do you do it?
I don't know. The first hour of this show was the first 2 matches. They both went nearly a half an hour. I know Omega and Zack Sabre Jr. went like 30 minutes easy, but
they went over 30 minutes. Which was
for
completely
what reason? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it
completely
out.
unnecessary. Yeah, completely unnecessary for them to go that long.
You would think the biggest championship in the history of the sport is on the line for 30 minutes. I mean, what was on the line there? Global ramifications, says Excalibur. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
look, I mean, they opened the main card though, and they had this tag match. It was a 3-way tag match. It was the Bucks, it was Unbound Company, and it was IYO SKY Team. So you had a little bit of, this was like, okay, AEW, CMLL, New Japan.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, fine. And so, you got a Young Bucks match. I think if you came into this expecting to get a Young Bucks match, you were satisfied with what you got. You had a lot of the breakneck pace and a lot of the very spotty, kind of a spotty match. The fans were into it. The fans were going crazy for it. And this was just the opening match. It was the right outcome because I think we're both in agreement here. The Bucks are going to be involved in that tag team championship match at Wembley, whatever it is. And so if you're building them to get another shot at the belts, there was really no reason for them to lose here.
no.
So the outcome wasn't surprising. I felt, the match was fine.
It was a Bucks party match. That's all it was.
That's what it was. It was no different than any Bucks party match that you would see any given week on Dynamite.
Yeah, they're going to Wembley. They're going to be wrestling Cope and Christian for the tag team titles and more than likely win the tag team titles. So that's what they're setting up for.
Well, they may not be the only teams in that match.
Who do you think they're going to add? You think FTR comes back?
FTR and or the New Day. I don't know that they wouldn't rush New Day into a big match like that on a big show like Wembley. Unless he was to save their debut for that show. He could do that too, where they make their first appearance. They come out, get a big reaction. Maybe they don't wrestle on the show. But I wouldn't put it past them to have them involved in the match.
I could see them involved in the match. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see them involved in that match. I would actually love to see them. When's the earliest they could be on TV? End of July?
I believe the very end of July.
So they got a whole month, right? I would love to see a program built up between New Day and FTR if FTR is ready to come back. Maybe do that at Wembley. Straight 2-on-2.
Sure.
I don't know. But New Day is going to be great in AEW, man. I'm excited about that. But the Bucks, they are headed towards the tag team titles. They win this 3-way tag team match. That opened the show here. Kenny Omega and Zack Sabre Jr. This was for global ramifications, apparently. Kenny Omega wins this, and they went 30 minutes. Now, I have been very vocal about Zack Sabre being a great wrestler, but he is not my cup of coffee. I find him to be incredibly boring. That's just me. They do work very well together, as obvious, because they came from New Japan. This was the first time in American soil for this match. It really did feel like a Forbidden Door match, and Zack Sabre's been at every one of them. But I'll tell you what, Jason, I think this may be somewhat of a hot take. Even though we all know both guys are great wrestlers and Kenny Omega's an unbelievable pro wrestler, I feel like Zack Sabre's best match at Forbidden Door was against Orange Cassidy. I think that was his best match. I didn't care for any of this here because we all know exactly what Kenny Omega's doing going into the next show. So I looked at this as like, all right, just let's move on to the next.
Well, I mean, it might have been his best Forbidden Door match. I still say his best AEW match was a Wrestle Dream against Bryan Danielson.
That was a great match too. Yeah, that was more like a fight instead of like a wrestling exhibition.
That's still the best one that he's had.
Yeah.
As far as AEW goes. Look, I thought this was a very good pro wrestling match. Sabre is Sabre. He's an acquired taste. He's very technical. Kenny was almost kind of more of the brawler, I guess you would say, in this match. My only issue with it is that it didn't need to go 30 minutes. I understand that for some people, this is the closest thing to like a quote dream match on this particular card. And we've had bigger ones before, like Okada and Daniels. Like as like big inter-promotional matches go at Forbidden Door, this was hardly the biggest one that they've done. But there were probably people who are fans of theirs who came into this show, and maybe that was the match they were looking forward to the most. But it's also second from the top. It's not the main event. They're promoting these like 3 main events. This is not one of the main events on the show. And so there was really no need for them to go 30 minutes. Not everything has to be a 30-minute classic. Like if you were to shave off 10 minutes from this match, it still would have been the same very good pro wrestling match. So that was my only issue with it. Kenny winning was a no-brainer. I mean, it would have been fucking stupid for him to go in there and lose, considering where he appears to be headed, right, at the end of next month. So there's really not much else to say about it. It was It was a good pro wrestling match that just overstayed its welcome, I think, by a little bit. And if you tightened it up a little bit, I think it would have been better off for it.
Yeah, they could have easily shaved 13 minutes off the top of this, and it would have been fine.
At least 10.
All right, at least 10. That's fine.
At least 10.
Yeah.
You want to give him 20 minutes, like, fine. Maybe you could shave a few minutes off from something else, but, like, that would be my only real quibble with this. This was not even the match I was looking forward to the most coming into the show.
No, not even close.
No.
No, it was made 2 weeks ago, so how could you?
Yeah, it was just kind of came out of nowhere, and then there was like, all right, it's like, who's the best? I'm like, okay, it doesn't get any more basic than that, right? Who's the best? Who's the better wrestler? Okay. So, I mean, there wasn't really a whole lot of substance to it. It got slapped together, but it was fine.
Yeah, the crowd enjoyed it. Omega won, and we will wait and see what he does going into the next show, because he's mentioned MJF and the word redemption. So if that ends up being the world title match, I'm not surprised.
It can't be anything else.
No.
They've dropped too many hints for it.
They cannot. I don't like where they're going with that, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
I accept it. I think we know where it's going. And
unfortunately.
I mean, I'm not as down on it as you are. I agree. I mean, I would prefer that they don't take the belt off MJF just yet. But I think that there are ways for us to get the matches that we want to see, even if MJF is not in the role of champion. And it's not like a Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay main event is going to disappoint.
It's not, and I'm sure Will wants what he wants, because this is his moment, this is his town, his stadium, this is his dream. So that's what it is. But the reason why it bothers me, and I don't want to really deviate away because I want to get through this as quickly as possible. But the reason why it bothers me, and I've told this to Jesse too, MJF has done a lot for this place, and you look at him as the ace. Some people say Moxley, but I think MJF is the fucking glue that holds this place together post-Punk. And he goes away with injury. He comes back. They put the world championship on him. Things are up. Ratings are up. Attendance is up. Interest is up. The world title scene is stronger than it's ever been. With MJF at the top, everybody's chasing him. They take it off him to put it on Darby. Some people looked at that as a great deal. I know you enjoyed most of it. I enjoyed the matches. It meant nothing to me. It really did. I thought it was like an unnecessary tactic, and it didn't really come about in the way that Darby truly deserved, because he opted to climb a mountain, and that should have been his moment at All In last year, and he threw that away. So they tried to make it work, and it really didn't come off the way that it needed to. The problem that I have with it is, if MJF loses the championship to Omega at Redemption and then does I don't know what at All In, to me, it feels like Tony is giving up on MJF. Like he's moving on. To me, I think if MJF drops the title, there's nothing left for him to do there, and I think that's him 1 foot out the door. That's just the way I think about it. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, taking the belt off him doesn't mean that he's given up on him. I mean, he can't be champion forever. He's going to lose that belt probably at Wembley. Even if he makes it to Wembley as champion, he's losing it there anyway. So you're basically choosing between the end of July or the end of August. And if he loses to Will Ospreay, it's not like he's giving up on MJF. I think Tony is well aware of what he has in MJF. And honestly, being the ace, sometimes part of being the ace, I would imagine, is also stepping aside so that they have this other story with somebody else they can tell, and then using that person in a different way on the show, whoever he's going to be feuding with, where he could be useful, in a different spot. Because if he was to be champion for another 6 months, let's say, you also get to a point where people are like, okay, he's being over pushed. This is boring. We need somebody new in there. So sometimes, being in that ace role is knowing when to, okay, step aside. This is what the company needs, or this is what Tony is asking for. And so wherever he ends up being plugged in, he's so good at what he does, he's going to excel in whatever he gets. Now, you mentioned you don't know what he would be doing at Wembley. I mean, look, I can't even call it a rumor. It's speculation going around about one particular match that I really hope is completely wrong, because it's just so stupid and asinine to me, him working with Foley. But the match that would seem to make the most sense to me, if he's not going to be the champion going into that show, him and Andrade in a big match at Wembley could well be the play, because they've been teasing these issues and this hatred between them now for months. And so we're looking at it like in the here and now, but who's to say 2 months from now they're not, building to some big one-on-one match, no titles, but like a big singles match on that show between MJF and Andrade. Like, as of this moment, he would seem to be the likeliest opponent if he's not in the main event.
Yeah, I like that. I vouched for that on Sunday when I was live for the Forbidden Door review. I actually am 100% for that. I don't know if they can take. I don't know if they have the wherewithal to take it to Wembley over the next 2 months.
Yeah, I trust that they can. You know, especially with MJF, like he'll make it work. Like, I thought that about Okada and Takeshita because they dragged that out for so long.
Yeah.
And they were able to make it work. Like, when we finally got the match at Double or Nothing, it was fucking whatever you said. It was 18 minutes or whatever. It was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
So I don't doubt that they can pull it off. I know we've talked about this Arena Mexico show that's coming up at the beginning of August, and oh my God, what an atmosphere it would be in that building to have the Ultimate heel. And coming off the angle with Mystico last year, he gets a lot of heat. MJF does in Mexico. And for him to go in there and Andrade, who just split away from Callis as the babyface, oh my God, it would be tremendous. Well, you know what? Let's say they don't do it at Wembley. Who's to say they can't still do that match at Arena Mexico,
Sure.
just without a championship on the line, right? It's so they're and even if they did Andrade and Kenny, that would still be a great atmosphere. So I'm not as like bent out of shape over it as maybe I was like a month or two ago at the prospect of it, because I see it coming. It's probably happening. And I still think there are ways to make it work to their advantage.
Yeah, hopefully they get that right. That's the one thing I want to see more than anything come out of that steel cage match is MJF and Andrade. So hopefully they know what they're doing. Jon Moxley and Bandito. This was for the Continental Championship. Now, Bandito is the current Ring of Honor World Champion, and he stepped up to Moxley's Continental title over the last 2 weeks. They've never had a one-on-one singles match before. They've crossed paths in a tag team match with Bandito and Brody King getting back together. That was a couple weeks ago where Moxley teamed with Danny Garcia. Bandito wanted a shot. He was feeling good. He got a win there over Danny Garcia and said, I want a shot at the Continental title. That's how we're here. This was a great match. I don't really care for the Continental title, but I do very much enjoy Jon Moxley in a setting, Jason. I said this on Sunday when I was live. Jon Moxley in a setting where there's no outside bullshit with the Death Riders. You just get to see him one-on-one. And Bandito, to me, is the best luchador in the world right now. There was a great spot where Bandito was pile-driven on top of the steel steps. He came up busted open pretty badly under the mask, and then Moxley tried to rip the mask. Bandito then came back later in the match and one-on power press to
He
Moxley.
rips it a little too much. Basically, half his mask was gone. I could see his face.
Yes, he did. He did rip at it a little bit too much. But Bandito came back with that one-arm power press slam on Moxley. They went back and forth. Bandito hit a somersault dive, big boots, German suplex, and then the finish saw Moxley with the bulldog choke. Bandito powered up to his feet. He dropped back, thinking that the impact falling backwards would release the hold. Moxley did not release. He still held on to the choke, and then Bandito passed out. So that was it. Post-match, Moxley pulled Bandito up to his feet, shook his hand, showed respect, and that was basically all she wrote. Good stuff here, but again, you know, typical of the Forbidden Door concept, this match was made in 2 weeks with no real build coming in.
Well, there was a report from Meltzer that it was a combination of injuries and visa issues that kind of wreaked havoc over some of these matches. Apparently, this was one of them. And the original, I believe they said the original idea was that it was going to be, I want to say it was going to be Callum Newman.
That's what I heard.
In this spot. Mm-hmm. And then I know Gabe Kidd was another one who had visa issues. And then there was somebody else, not a New Japan. Was it Suri? I think Suri was supposed to be on this show. Probably in the Owen final. So this match, it may have been a situation where it's like, okay, the guy we were going to use is not available all of a sudden because he just dislocated his shoulder. And so they were like, okay, we'll go with Bandito. And you know what? We had a very good match out of it. Bandito's awesome. I mean, every time I see him in a match like this, he always gets over. He's just fun to watch. Honestly, he's one of the most fun wrestlers to watch, like anywhere in the world. And I've said that for a few years now. He's just fantastic. So they had a very good match. You made a good point about the Continental title. I don't give a shit about the championship itself. It doesn't mean anything to me. The one benefit of it and what makes it better than Moxley walking around with the world title, which was in a briefcase, is that with the Continental title, there's no outside interference. Mm-hmm. So it completely prevents the Death Riders from being involved, and we just get these straight wrestling matches, which I'll take this over what we were getting with all the Death Riders interference last year, right? I mean, that's a step up.
100%.
So I mean that I don't mind that at all. It was weird though because it's the bipolarness of the Death Riders in general. Where on this show, clearly in this match, Moxley was the heel because they love Bandito. But then there he is again, like coming out during the main event as like a cheerleader for Will Ospreay as like the babyface.
Bro,
And
I
it's
said
like,
this same thing on Sunday. He's like, I don't know what he's trying to be. He's a heel here, pulling at the mask, disrespecting the fucking mask of Bandito. Then he's out on the main event cheering on Ospreay, man. Like, he's banging on the mat. And I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, I mean, I guess the idea is that it's not so much him. This is how you would explain it. It's not so much him going from like heel to babyface to heel. Like, he is who he is. The Death Riders are who they are. And so when he has to get vicious, he gets vicious. Like, if you notice, when the match was over, he didn't attack Bandito. He went over to Bandito. He paid respect to him. I don't remember if they shook hands or not. And then he left. So I think that's supposed to be like who Moxley is. Moxley is someone who is kind of in the middle, tweener. Like, he's not full babyface. He's not full heel. And he'll go in there and be as vicious as he needs to be. He'll bite you. He'll make you bleed and drink your blood and all this sick shit that he does. But then you kind of earn his respect, when it's over. I guess that's kind of the spot that he's in right now. But you have the rest of the group where like Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia, and it's just hard to know where they fall, like on the spectrum here. So it's just a weird thing. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with Moxley and waiting to see who he is going to defend that title against at Wembley. I have a theory on who that would be.
Go ahead.
My sense is we may be looking at Moxley and Swerve.
What makes you feel that?
Just the feeling I had coming out of that main event when I was thinking about what the two of them would be doing on that show. And there's still 2 months, but right now there's no real hint of what they would be doing. 2 big names. I could just see them being put together and putting the Continental title up for grabs in that match.
I could see that. The sad thing is they built the Brody and Swerve match at Dynasty around who the most dangerous man in AEW is. I think that would fit more perfectly with Moxley and Swerve in a match between those two.
Well, maybe so, but you still need a major match for Swerve on that show, and I just don't know where else he would. I don't know offhand right now where he would fall. Again, there's still time to build some other matchup that I'm not thinking of, but that was just my thought coming out of it. If you want to have Moxley defending his title against someone who would make the most sense, and I could see them doing him in Swerve.
I could see that. Actually, they've never done that. They have never done that, right? On
I
AEW?
believe so.
All right.
No.
I like it. We'll see what happens there. Shota Umino, he went one-on-one and defended the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship against Pac. Now, Pac obviously is in the Death Riders. He's one of Moxley's henchmen. Umino was mentored by Jon Moxley during his Young Lion days in New Japan. Moxley obviously is the leader of the Death Riders, so this is eventually going to end up as the student of Moxley going up against one of Moxley's henchmen in the Death Riders. So that's what this was. This was legitimately made a week ago on Collision because they needed another match on the show.
Again, I think Gabe Kidd was supposed to be in this spot, and Gabe Kidd has not actually wrestled in this country. He has not wrestled a match since the coffin match with Darby Allin, which was back in mid-March.
The fabled coffin match that nobody reacted to, yeah.
Which he lost, yes. He worked that match. He wrestled at Dynasty, but Dynasty was in Canada, so no visa issues there. So that's how long this has been going on for. I mean, I don't know why this shit takes so long. I mean, you hear about these nightmare like waits that people have to get their fucking work visas. It just sounds like it's this constant in both companies. It sounds like it's just this constant issue, even with some indie wrestlers. And I just don't know. I don't know if that gets better anytime soon. Like Mark Davis. Mark Davis had that match with Will Ospreay, that main event at Dynamite at the beginning of June. And he hasn't worked a match since for them because apparently he's also dealing with visa issues, and he's a champion for them.
And he was running a hot streak of momentum too. That sucks for him.
Yeah, the hottest run of his career.
I know you're a big Mark Davis guy. You're a mark for Mark Davis.
I'm a mark for Mark Davis. I'm like, where the hell did he go? And I saw he defended the national title at a Rev Pro show like a week ago because he's got nothing else to do until this gets resolved. So, it sucks, but I guess their hands are tied.
Yeah. I figured he'd be in that match with the cage match with the 11 other guys. They put Jake Doyle in there, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But this was a good match here. I mean, Pac doesn't have a bad match ever. You can't sit here and shit on a Pac match. There was a great spot here where Pac had a razor's edge on Umino through a table on the outside that was set up.
Oh my God, dude. You know what that was?
That was fucking nasty.
That was an awesome bomb, is what that was.
Oh, is that what that was? I thought it was a razor's edge. I put razor's edge in my notes.
No. That was an awesome bomb. And I haven't seen one of those in a long time. And oh my God, I thought he killed him.
Whatever it was, through a table, fucking nasty. Go back inside 450 splash into a brutalizer. Umino fought to the ropes to break the hold. Down the stretch here, we got multiple Germans from Umino. Hit a discus forearm. Pac went down. Finished him with what he calls the second chapter to retain the IWGP Global title. Post-match here, after he won, we got Moxley coming out to stare down Umino. And then Hiroshi Tanahashi walks down the aisle. He's the president of New Japan. He walks out. He gets into the ring. Yeah, I know. You're probably thinking the same thing I was thinking.
Is that what you call it?
He walked? Yeah, he walked. What do you call it?
He's got the Kali knees. It's painful. It's painful to watch.
All I will say, it looks like he's enjoying retirement. I'll tell you that.
He's got a new haircut and everything.
Yeah, he looks like he's living it up over there in Japan too. Tanahashi comes in, raises his hand. Moxley bailed. They just wanted to get him on the show to, I guess, the Nick Khan's favor was synergy between the two promotions.
Well, they presented him. Did you see the video of him with Tony Khan after the show when they presented him with the guitar?
Yes, I did. I saw
nice
it.
Guitar.
It was. It was like a thank you. Thank you for letting me have all your talent. Here's a nice Gibson guitar for you.
Yeah, and thanks for letting our talent go over in most of the matches and signing away all the top names that couldn't make as much money there, and they wanted to come here. So I was more than happy to welcome them with open arms.
Here's a nice guitar for you. Was it a Gibson or an Ibanez? What was it? I didn't see. Fender?
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it had a nice inscription with, I think, the two company logos on the bottom.
Yes, I did see that. That was nice. So we got Pac winning here. Oh, no, Umino winning here. Pac falls. And that was that with the post-match with Moxley and Tanahashi. Now, this is where I think me and Jason are going to disagree. This next match. This, to me, and I will say this. I want to preface this by saying I love Tekla. I think Tekla's great. Tekla has really made this feel like a true Forbidden Door match just because she actually went above and beyond and did what she needed to do with Stardom. And she had this feud, and she let us know why she was in Stardom, why she left Stardom, and why she has a problem with Stardom, why she has a problem with Taro Okada over there, spitting on the logo, disrespecting him. I think she even went over there in the build to this match and bullied him around even more. So Tekla has done a fantastic job. I did not know a thing about Starlight Kid before this match on Sunday night. And everybody was like, JD, you're going to love Starlight Kid. She's great. Tony Khan, according to Tekla, this is his favorite wrestler. So I'm looking forward to this to see how they work. At the end of this match, Jason, it was a good match. I was not wowed by anything I saw here. I felt like the crowd was kind of taken out of it a little bit just because of the unknown. And they really got into it towards the tail end of it. And it didn't really leave me wowed in any way. It was like, all right. But I thought Mercedes in my world had a much superior match. And then this was probably the third best women's match of the entire weekend.
Well, yeah, the third best or maybe second best. It wasn't as good as the women's Owen match. It didn't. And again, it didn't have the same drama behind it. I thought it was a really good match. I actually thought it was the best match that Tekla's had in AEW since she came over. And as far as Starlight Kid, I mean, I've probably only seen a little bit more of her than you have. So I know that she's had matches that are better than this. This was not like her best work or anything like that. But it turned into a hell of a fight between the two of them. It did get more kind of lively, I guess you would say, down the stretch when they were coming into like that closing sequence there. And I just thought, man, this was a really This is a really good match. I thought that there was a chance that they might put the belt on Starlight Kid. When I knew they weren't going to is when Micah won on the pre-show. So when she won and she beat Sky Blue, I said, okay, well, there it is. Because I thought they were going to throw a bone to Stardom. And then when Micah won on the pre-show, I said, well, there's the Stardom win. So Starlight Kid is probably not winning. Not only did she not win, Tekla then, to rub salt in the wound, rips her mask off, hawks a loogie, spits it in the mask, goes outside, and then hits Taro Okada with the mask. And this was my favorite part of the entire thing because she hits him with this piece of fabric. And this guy, he sells it like he got hit with a fucking sledgehammer, which was hilarious to me. Like, literally just hitting him with this mask, and he's selling it. He's taking a bump for it. He's falling down. I'm like, this is the best feud in wrestling is her and Okada.
So yeah, that was pretty comical. I thought the same thing. Like, why is he like? He's overselling the fucking fact that she went over there and started slapping him around. Yeah,
that's what he's been doing all along is overselling every time he gets his ass kicked.
So
you would think at some point, though, Stardom, they've got to get their revenge on this woman for, terrorizing them and beating him up at every opportunity. And that's why I thought there was a chance of it happening here if they wanted to transition the belt from Starlight Kid next month to Mercedes or whoever. But look, I mean, Tekla's great. Tekla, she knows her role. She knows what her job is when she goes out there. She sold the shit out of this match in the lead up to it. It was one of the few matches on the show that actually had something of a build, even though it didn't directly involve Starlight Kid necessarily, although they did do an angle when she was in Japan, and I think Starlight Kid was holding the belt up or whatever. But of most of the matches on this show, but for a few, this had one of the better sort of builds to it, where it didn't just feel like it was completely thrown together, right? Because Tekla, she hates Stardom. She was fired from there. She's bitter about it. It was all on her, man. She was the one selling the shit out of this match, honestly, in the weeks leading up to it.
Yeah, I think Tekla's work has been great. I'm glad that Tony let her be herself. And when she first got there, she was like a mute. She didn't say anything. We didn't know anything about her. It was the first time I personally saw her. And then just months and months and months without saying anything. And then she starts kind of coming out of her shell. I'm like, where was this woman 6 months ago? So I'm glad Tony finally let her just show that natural charisma and that energy on television. She's been the best thing about that women's division. And I got to shout this guy out because he's coming in with a bomb. Our guy Havili with a $100 super chat. Shout out from Townsville, North Queensland, he says. If we're getting Jade versus Charlotte and Io versus Liv, who is Rhea facing at SummerSlam? Let's just say that we don't have War Games this year. What is most likely to happen to Randy Orton and winning number 15? Or the Usos and Jacob Fatu turn on Roman? And we'll start with the Jade and Charlotte, Io, Liv. Those are Jade and Charlotte's not yet confirmed. Liv and Io is. Rhea, we don't have any update on the injury that happened in Italy. I'm hoping she makes SummerSlam, but if she is to wrestle at SummerSlam, Jason, who do you see Rhea Ripley defending that title against?
JC Jane.
I would have to agree with that. Right now, they haven't done much with JC because she's in a holding pattern.
I mean, I'm hoping it's JC Jane just because it'll get her out of this terrible vortex that she's in right now with Paige and Brie Bella, and they just keep losing to these women. You know, the other two, Lainey Reed and Fallon Henley, lost a non-title match to Paige and Brie, and then JC went in there with Paige and lost to Paige. And I'm like, boy, they came in. I like the way they came in and they were introduced, and they've done a good job of cooling them down. And so the quicker they can heat her back up and get her away from those two and involved in something else is going to be good for JC Jane.
Yes.
So that would be a fine match. I'd be okay with that if that's the match. I'm just more questioning whether or not Rhea's even going to be able to wrestle at SummerSlam. We don't have a status update on her, so we don't know.
We don't know. They have fizzled out for sure. Fatal Influence. Let's just say that we don't have War Games this year. What is most likely to happen? Randy Orton win number 15 or the Usos and Jacob Fatu turn on Roman? I'm going to go Usos and Jacob turning on Roman. Yeah. I mean, the whole Randy Orton 15 thing is on
on the back burner for now.
I guess Mr. Dave Meltzer was correct about Randy Orton being injured, because otherwise, where is he? And why isn't he at SummerSlam?
Well, it was funny because when Orton posted that tweet, when the reports were like, oh, he's got a back injury again, and everyone was like, Orton, he batted down Dave. I'm like, I didn't see anywhere in that tweet where he denied that he was dealing with an injury.
Yeah.
He never said like it's false or I don't have an injury. He never actually refuted the report.
Well, I mean, the IWC and the journalists within can never be right. So typical of a pro wrestler is to dumb down a report. But I guess he is hurt. Otherwise, he'd be on TV.
We have a quick up. We have a quick up. Well, first of all, Havili, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you
for that
Havili.
bomb. But breaking news: Nikki Blackheart has debuted in NXT
As Nikki
isn't that her? Isn't that her name?
I thought they gave her a new name. No, or they keeping Nikki Blackheart? Because I think Nikki Blackheart's a cool name. I don't know. I hope they don't chase her name.
Okay, so they said she debuted in the closing segment, not named yet.
What is with them not naming anybody?
They do that from time to time where somebody will pop up on TV, but they will avoid saying their name. I think they did that with Ricky Starks actually when he debuted. They wouldn't like call him by his name because I don't think they had a name for him until a few weeks in.
Well, she showed up in a dark segment with just the name Martinez. Did you see that?
Who did?
Nikki Blackheart. This was weeks ago.
So she does have a name.
Well, maybe Martinez. I don't know if that's a first or a last name.
Okay, but evidently tonight they may not have identified her by name, but she did show up.
Okay. Who did she attack? She attacked what's her name? Kendall Gray?
I don't know, but they're saying that she almost broke her legs. That would have been a pretty bad debut if she broke her legs.
I have to. Nikki,
how did she almost break her legs in the chat? Let me know. I'm curious. Like, did they drop her from the ceiling in like a parachute or something? Like, how do you almost break your legs?
I don't know. Apparently, she attacked Tatum Paxley and took her out with a torture rack. So I guess she's a heel. Okay. All right. Hopefully that goes well there. She's a big deal.
I'm still curious about how she almost broke her legs doing that.
I don't know. I mean, have you seen her? I mean, I think it would be pretty difficult for her to break her legs in any way. She's fucking built.
I have seen her. She's very impressive.
Yes. We'll see what happens. That's a big
They're
pickup.
Exaggerating. All right. Hopefully she botched. All right. Well, look, it happens.
All right.
It happens.
Whatever.
It's her first night in, okay?
I'm sure the great NXT fans let her have it. I'm sure they did.
Oh, please. If it was the old ECW arena 30 years ago, she'd be showered by you fucked up, you fucked up.
Oh,
they would not let her forget it.
Moving on here. Cope and Cage against the Dogs. This is for the AEW Tag Team Championships. This doesn't really have much behind it outside of we got David Finlay and Clark Connors just wanting to kind of one-up the old veterans here, and they think that they can do it better. So this was basically, in my opinion, most of this was a television match. Didn't really care about this coming in. Didn't care about it coming out because we all knew exactly where we were going. Cope and Cage are going to be the tag team champions going into Wembley and more than likely defend against the Young Bucks or other teams at this point that we don't know. But the main thing here is Jay White is back in AEW. The lights went out. And then the Bang Bang Gang, they're on the stage and they're all doing their whole entrance deal with the spotlight on them. We got Ace Austin, the Guns, and Rock Hard, Juice Robinson. And then in the ring is Jay White. Massive ovation. He lays out David Finlay with a Blade Runner. Copeland hit a spear. And that was basically all she wrote. Cope and Cage win. They embraced with Jay White. He helped them retain the tag team championships. So it looks like, Jason, that we're coming back to Jay White returning to the company and going after David Finlay. And they have history way back during the Young Lion days of New Japan. Finlay literally attacked White on his way out of Japan, stole his Bullet Club leadership, and I guess they're running with that going into Wembley. Do you think this is a good spot for Jay White's return?
Yeah, I mean, because it gives him someone to beat.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's be honest. It's not like David Finlay has been, too heavily pushed so far. I would imagine if they're going to do that as a singles match, I mean, that should be a win for Jay White to kind of get him going. I'd like to see Jay White like in the championship mix in the next few months.
Yes.
So if it means, he has to run through a couple of people first, then I don't have an issue with that. I'm just happy to see him back. I mean, the last time he wrestled for them, I believe, was March of 2025.
That's fucking
Right?
crazy.
I mean, yeah, it's been a long time. And then he showed up at the beginning of the year for the ceremony for Tanahashi after his retirement match. And I thought that maybe he looked good. I thought maybe he was going to be on his way back around then. That was 6 months ago. So it's been a very long time. He's one of the bigger names, former IWGP World Champion and all that. So it's good. It's good to get him back. He's just had problems staying healthy. So I just hope that he can stay healthy because he could be a real, fun addition to that roster.
Yeah, if Ospreay's going to win the championship in the coming months, I think Jay White is absolutely at the top of the list for contenders for Will Ospreay.
By the way, like again, total aside, just to go back to what we were just talking about with NXT. Nikki Blackheart is such a great fucking wrestling name.
It is.
Like, why would you change away from Nikki Blackheart? You got to make an exception for that, man. I mean, that's a wrestling name. Like, that's a money name.
I don't know. I think the same thing. You know these people. They're going to change the name and make it terribly uncool.
Nothing wrong. I mean, Nicole Martinez, if that's her name, or Nikki Martinez, that's fine. But like,
It doesn't stand out on a marquee. Like it reminds me of like Raquel Rodriguez. It's like it's it's like a
Melissa Jones,
regular name.
Yeah.
Like
Melissa
Roxanne
Jones has
Roxanne
debuted.
Perez. Like what the fuck, man? These are not like big marquee names.
Jennifer Connelly has debuted on NXT.
I don't know, man. Why are they so uncreative at everything they do? They got AI fucking running rampant with the music. Who's making their names? Probably Chat GPT for all we fucking know. I don't know. Hopefully she fares well there. I'm sure she will. But Finlay and Jay White, what do you think? 1-on-1, or do we see the Dogs in a 3-on-3 against the Bang Bang gang?
He'll probably get a 3-on-3. I mean, it's like that's my hope. I hope that Jay White is not relegated to like the trios title hunt
On the pre-show.
I mean,
yeah.
What a fucking waste that would be. They did that with Malachi Black, where it's like he's going after the trios titles, and I'm like, why is he not in the ring in singles matches? Let's not make that same mistake with Jay White.
We will see. I'm glad he's back. My match of the night, and this is basically the start of what really saved, in my opinion, Forbidden Door from being a thumbs down show. The wrestling was fine, but you got to give me more than that. The triple main event that Tony Khan advertised here started with Mercedes and Maya World. This was the Women's Owen Hart Cup. Mercedes was not slated for the tournament when we got the initial bracket. Neither was Maya World. Both plugged in because of injuries. Mercedes because of Willow, and Maya World because of Sari. So Maya World beat Sky Blue. She beat Athena, surprisingly. And I will say, I'll be honest with everybody, I was not happy with that decision because I'm very fond of Athena. And a match with Mercedes and Athena is what everybody was really hoping for here. And we were all kind of figuring out ways, how do we get Athena integrated into the championship title picture on Dynamite and maybe go with Mercedes at Allin? That never came to fruition. But I think after Sunday night, Jason, whatever Maya World is selling, I'm buying. I said on my end of my review, tournaments usually yield stars in a good tournament. You give someone a platform and they just wow the audience, and it's like a great catapult for somebody, a brand new talent. That's exactly what Tony Khan did here with Maya World. So that's number one. Number two, she absolutely owned this fucking match with Mercedes. And yes, there were problems, whether it was a hair issue or a wardrobe malfunction, whatever it was. I'm not sure what it exactly was. She did the best.
Well, I mean, she was.
Yes, I saw.
Coming out of her top.
I saw,
mean, that's
yes.
kind of why. If it was a hair issue, they wouldn't have taken the camera off her for 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, whatever it was. She owned it, and she worked through it, and Mercedes was absolutely a pro to guide her to this match. Bro, this was a star-making match, and the 22 minutes, whatever it was, 22, 23 minutes that they went, I think
it was like closer to like 25.
Yeah, whatever they went, I think at the end of this, they should both be incredibly proud of what they did. And if Tony is looking at this and thinking, well, I'm going to take Maya and put her on Ring of Honor now to go after the Ring of Honor title and go after Athena, I think that is a huge step backwards. I think if you have the opportunity to make a star and get everybody on board with what she did here, why would you downgrade her to Ring of Honor? I would put her on Dynamite and put her right into the thick of things in that women's division, because Toni Storm is out. Mercedes just got back. Willow's coming back. Tekla is great. But outside that, there really isn't one woman that's lighting that division on fire. Yet you got this woman here who showed up and showed out for the biggest match of her life, and you're not going to capitalize on that. I'm hoping Tony Khan really thinks about this strongly and does right by Maya World. I don't know what you thought of the overall match and Maya herself, but this was tremendous in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tremendous piece of business here. And you had the feel-good story for Maya going into this where she wasn't even supposed to be here. Like, literally was not even in the tournament when it began, and here she is in the finals in the biggest match of her life against someone that she has been on record as saying she was her dream opponent. And she went in there, and again, Mercedes was very giving, and there was a lot of give and take between them. It was not like one was overly dominant over the other. And Maya opened up a lot of eyes to people who may never have seen her work before. You know, she was in there and she was hitting all of her, big moves and convincing near fall. There were a few near falls in there that had me convinced that she was going over in this match. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end, that great closing stretch where I think she had Mercedes at one point locked in her own statement maker, and then Mercedes was able to kind of transition out of that into one of her own. And, back and forth they went. And when it was over, it was like, this was mission accomplished. I thought there was a chance that Maya would go over here, but even in defeat, they made a star. It's a star-making performance for her.
Yeah.
And so now the key is going to be in the follow-up where it's like, okay, where does she go next? We saw the promo after the match with Athena. Athena was there. She was interviewed by Renee, and Athena was going off on her failed pupils, obviously referring to Maya and to Billy Starks. And I know everybody is like looking at this and assuming this must mean that Maya is going to be built up now as the one to take the title in Ring of Honor from Athena. That may now be the plan, but really the only person who really should be the one taking that championship from Athena is Billy Starks, because that's something that they have been building towards for literally years now. I said it when I did the Uncrowned Wrestling show earlier. I said, Athena has been the Ring of Honor Women's Champion since the Obama administration, and so she's still walking around with this fucking belt.
Oh my God, it's been that long?
It's been a while. Yeah, you didn't realize it, but it's been a very long time.
Holy shit.
And so it's time to, finally get that championship off of her and onto somebody else. I still think Billy Starks is that person. But again, you want to give her the maximum amount of visibility. That's going to happen on AEW television. It's not going to happen on Ring of Honor or behind a paywall or anything like that. She could be somebody that in the next, like in the second half of this year, like we don't know for sure who's going to walk away tomorrow with the TBS title, but within the next 6 months, why not build a story around Maya World trying to win her first championship, and eventually she gets crowned as the new TBS champion? That'd be a great story to tell.
Yeah.
But that would be an AEW, right? Yeah. Not Ring of Honor. So I'm with you on that. I think it would be a step down. You want to maximize visibility of her. You don't want to kind of hide her away, sort of. So that's my hope with her. Mercedes becomes the first woman to win back-to-back Owens. It sounds like if it wasn't her, it would have been Willow, because Willow, I think, won the first one. First one or second one? No, second one. Britt Baker won the first one.
Yes.
So it would have been Willow probably if it wasn't Mercedes. And Mercedes now is guaranteed a championship match at Allin. The only question is, does Tekla hold on? It would, as things stand right now, it would be a little weird because you've got two heels.
Yeah.
So it makes me question if Tekla's even going to walk in with that championship. We were talking about before the possibility of Willow comes back in the next few weeks. Does Willow get a title match against Tekla in Montreal and win the belt from her there? I think that's absolutely possible. If not, do they go a different way with Mercedes from this point forward, where they try to book her as more of a babyface, where it's her redemption story? The championship that she's fought for twice before, she failed both times. This is her third time. It could be her last. And so you build kind of a story around that. Because so far, since she came back, she's still the CEO. She's acting exactly the same way. There's nothing terribly different about the way that she's acting. And Tekla certainly, I mean, Tekla as a heel is perfect. I would not fuck with that. So that's the only thing that's a little weird right now. But there's 2 months. A lot can change between now and then. We don't know who the champion is going to be going into that show. It does feel to me like that title is one way or the other going to wind up around Mercedes' waist at the end of all this. I guess the main reason that I thought Maya really had a chance was the story of her being Mercedes having the 13 titles. And she lost 12 of them. But she came out on Sunday and she still had that Owen Hart belt. And I just looked at it and I said, she still has one belt left. And so to me, it just made sense. Like she would lose that last one right before she even thought about the world title. But she won. And so she's going to have that belt for, another year. And
Yeah, but it's not really hers to own, though. It's not really a belt.
well, it's not a traditional belt that you defend week to week, but still, when you win it, you're the champion. Like kind of like if you win King of the Ring or Queen of the Ring, you're the king or queen for that year. She was walking around on television the last few weeks with that pink belt. She still had a belt.
She was.
So I thought, okay, she's got one to lose, and maybe she'll lose it, but she'll hold on to it for another year. So technically, she's not beltless yet.
I don't know if they force a babyface run for Mercedes, if it's going to go off well. I just keep her the same way. I don't think people are going to buy into that.
We say that now, but I mean, there are definitely ways to make it work where Tekla is such a great heel that let's say if they were to come face to face at some point, I think Tekla can make it work where she is able to just be so good in that heel role that she could potentially get sympathy from Mercedes. Mercedes would have to change a little bit of how she kind of acts out there, but I think Tekla's just so good. I think there's a chance that they could find a way to make it work where they get Mercedes over as the fan favorite in that.
What do you make of Mercedes' Instagram story that she posted yesterday with her and Bailey, Davina Rose, in a picture side by side over the Wrestle Dream graphic for the AEW World Championship? What do you think that means?
I think it means exactly what you think it means. I think
is Bailey fed up with the Fed?
No, I don't think it means that. I just think she. Well, first of all, she probably is, but I think it means she would love to see her friend, join her in AEW. There's some fans are funny, man. Stans are funny because I saw some comment. I don't know if it was under a Mercedes post or just some random tweet, but there were people who were like, they took that IG story thing that she posted and somehow they read from that, oh man, Mercedes, she really wants to come back to WWE so badly. What? Like she wants to come to WWE to work with Bailey. And I'm like,
there was a Wrestle Dream graphic. What the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah, well, because they're not all there. So I mean, I'm like, how do you infer that? Because they're just convinced that she's going to come back. And I'm convinced that she has no intention of going back. I think she's genuinely happy doing her own thing and the freedom that she is afforded with AEW to be able to go do basically whatever the hell she wants to do. Like that whole run that she just came off of. And she may even have plans beyond wrestling to do other things that she wouldn't be able to do if she was in WWE. So I have come around to this idea that we may never see her back, like a proper like Sasha Banks return. I'm not saying that it won't happen. I'm just saying that I'm more convinced now than ever that it probably will never happen. And I think she's very content exactly where she is. And there's a much better chance that Bailey will leave at the end of her contract and end up in AEW.
I will say this. I always speak on that match at TakeOver Brooklyn as the greatest women's match in WWE history. If there is a chance that Bailey comes on over to AEW and we get Mercedes and Bailey again in that type of setting for a world championship, I genuinely feel that they will outdo their TakeOver match by 1,000. So I'm looking for, if that happens, man, sign me the fuck up. Honestly.
Well, I don't want to say by 1,000 because part of what made that match so great, and I was in the building for that match, man. Like the atmosphere in that building, it was so great. But it was the story, though. Mm-hmm. Bailey was the baby face. She was the underdog, the scrappy underdog, and Sasha was the bully. That's part of what made that match work so well. So if they're able to pull that off, what you just said, then it may be the greatest women's match on American soil. Okay, so which it may well end up being. I mean, who knows? Look, I made this comment and on the sound off on Sunday, and I don't think I'm out of bounds in saying, or maybe I said it today, but I don't think I'm out of bounds in saying this. I think that Mercedes is the greatest female wrestler to come out of America.
You can't say that, bro. You can't say that.
Why not?
Because she's not, apparently. I say the same thing every month, bro.
Why not?
I
know. I'm careful.
I know.
I'm careful to say out of America because there are a couple of ladies. One of whom is Manami Toyota, who I know is regarded as maybe the greatest female wrestler of all time. And there have been a lot of great female wrestlers, dude, out of Japan. Like, there's a reason why that like all Japan women's era from the early 90s is so revered. So I'm not as familiar with all of it. I don't want to sit here and just say anywhere in the world she's the greatest. But out of this country, there it is right there. Like I'll just say it. That's how I feel.
I agree with you. It is a very, very hot button subjective topic because every time I mention it, people are like, man, you're crazy. She sucks. She's overrated. Io, Rhea, Charlotte, Becky. I get 1,000 names thrown at me. But there's been nobody more consistent than Mercedes as far as match quality. Simple. I mean,
yeah.
Everybody's best match is with whom? Mercedes. So.
I mean, she had a lot of great matches in WWE, but I mean, I would argue her resume outside of WWE has been far stronger.
Yes, absolutely.
And you put all of that together, and you just get to a point where it's like you can't just say that it's just her opponent because she's worked with so many different people now. Like just since leaving WWE, you look at all the matches she had with Statlander. You look at the match she had with Stephanie Vicaire. Turned out to be a pretty important match for Stephanie.
Yeah.
That Forbidden Door show was a couple of years ago now, or last year, whenever it was. And just on and on and on. I mean, the matches that she was having with some of the ladies in Japan when she had the IWGP Women's Belt, and her resume speaks for itself. So people can kind of whine and complain and piss, bitch, and moan all they want to, but that's how I feel about it. Like she has cemented herself, to me anyway, as the greatest female wrestler to come out of the U.S.
Do you want to know when? And I'll move on here to the cage match after this. Do you know when I realized how good Mercedes was? When she brought Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble to her best match in WWE, because I mean that was just a work in progress there, and Ronda was green as fuck, and Mercedes fucking gave her best match in WWE, and Ronda was in there with everybody, Nia and Becky and Alexa, Charlotte.
Well, she had a great match with Charlotte.
She did.
Though,
She did.
Survivor Series.
Yeah.
So I'd
but
have
that
to
was
go
more
back
like was that a regular match or was that more like a street fight? Because they went pretty hard there.
I think it. Well, I don't know. I think I think it was a regular match. I vaguely recall kendo sticks being involved.
Yes.
But I don't remember if that was post match. But that match wasn't even supposed to happen. If you remember, it was supposed to be Becky and Ronda.
Yeah.
And that Becky got her face broken, and so Charlotte stepped in, and they had an excellent match. To be fair, but yes, I mean she went in there with Ronda at the Royal Rumble, I think it was, and yes, they had a very good match. So, and Hell in a Cell with Becky,
fantastic,
right?
Yeah.
That was another great one. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm not surprised that these two went out there and had the kind of match they had. And as far as Maya World goes, I think we both agree, star-making performance. Now the key is, how do you follow up with her?
Hopefully Tony knows what he's doing. Let's get the job done, TK. 12-man steel cage match. This was Team Briscoe versus Team MJF and Don Callis. So the rules are here that if Team Briscoe wins, Mark Briscoe, that is, gets a championship match against MJF for the AEW World Title. Now, I need to commend AEW for doing something a little different. Last year, it was more like a boxed in, almost oversized adult form of like a dog cage or dog kennel, which is similar to New Japan. What they did here, Jason, is basically give you a circular cage that was almost kind of a mix of a regular steel cage, but Hell in a Cell at the same time, but circular and not really kind of over-encompassing in that big rectangular shape like the Hell in a Cell. No top on this thing. I thought the visual of this was very, very cool. And apparently the name of this now, they trademarked that I read today, is called Death's Door. I like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it's going to probably end up being an annual gimmick for them.
Another one.
So, yeah, another one. But, you know, look, I mean, I was very skeptical of this. I was not a fan of this coming into this show. Just, you know, the whole 6-on-6, 12-man tag, second year in a row that they're doing this, although this cage was a little bit different. This was better than the cage match they did last year at Forbidden Door. And this turned out to be a lot more fun than I was expecting it to be because it had a mix of different things. There was a lot of comedy in it. I popped when I saw the NES get pulled out of
which, by the way, got picked up by Kotaku and some other fucking major mainstream site. So obviously it made news waves.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that and them using the controllers to kill the heels. My favorite part of the entire thing, honestly, was the Leo Rush cameo.
I thought of you immediately because you do such a good impersonation of Leo Rush.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's fine. He does. I mean, come on, man. It's so great. It's so great. But like he was literally zipped up in a bag. And so they unzipped this bag to see what's inside, and he pops out of it. And he's got, it wasn't black. I think it looked like blood. It was like red goo coming out of his mouth and everything. But the best part was like MJF has the Dynamite Diamond ring on his pinky finger, and he sees the ring. And he's like going after the ring, like, my precious. He wants the ring. And so I've said this a few times now, and I know you weren't maybe aren't necessarily sold on the gimmick, but like I love it because it's just so different than anything that we usually get on these AEW shows. I kind of feel the same way about the Blackheart gimmick for him as I do like Danhausen in AEW and Danhausen in WWE. Danhausen in WWE, it always felt to me like this is more of a WWE thing. And Tony didn't know what to do with him. And even if he pushed him, I don't think he would have gotten over as much as he has in WWE. And I kind of feel the same way about this character. Like it shouldn't work this well in AEW, but it does. And it's getting over. Like it's getting over a little bit more each week, and they're chanting his name and everything. He popped out of that bag here. He got one of the biggest pops on the entire show.
Yes, he did.
And so he did his thing for a little bit. Then they stuffed him back in the bag to get rid of him. I just thought that was, to me, that was the part that I had the most fun with here in this match. But, we didn't get any over-the-top, like, gore and violence. And, we see some stuff in some of these matches that is just so bloody, and we'll get to the main event, but like so bloody and over the top. And they didn't go too over the top with any of it. There was a lot of chaos. Kevin Knight, I mean, that was scary when he climbed to the top of the cage. And I guess was it Darby's backpack was up there, and he went to go look inside the backpack, and it blew up in his face. Fucking pyro or powder, whatever it was. And then he goes falling off the top of this cage. I think it was 2 stacked tables.
It was 4 tables in total, yeah.
That top one broke. The bottom one didn't somehow. So that was kind of a crazy bump to take. But it all built to, MJF and Briscoe, and he had MJF beat with the J Driller. I think Jake Doyle saved it. And it went the way I think that we probably figured it would, why Doyle was even in this match, because he was going to be the one to take the losing fall. But before he took the losing fall, he looked pretty strong in this match. I do wonder if that would have been the Mark Davis spot.
Probably.
I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like that would have been the Mark Davis spot in this match. But in the end, he takes the losing fall. Briscoe wins. I mean, it could not have gone any other way. They've spent too much time on television now, these last few weeks, building to a match to what? Not deliver on it? Of course we were going to get a title match between him and MJF. So the good guys won. Everybody celebrated. And then they made the announcement. And this is also, I like this. We talk a lot about how Tony and his inability to follow up on these pay-per-views. And there isn't anything terribly special or exciting that happens on a lot of these post-pay-per-view dynamites. So far, he's kind of loading the show up because they're not waiting. I thought they would wait until Beach Break. They're doing the title match tomorrow. So we have and they're opening the show with it. So we have a World Championship match tomorrow, plus the 6-way to crown a new TBS champion.
Yeah.
So that's a good start. That's a good start because there are a lot of times where these, and hopefully it doesn't end up this way, but like these post-pay-per-view dynamites are just a drag.
Yeah.
You're coming off, like, it's like an adrenaline rush with the pay-per-view, and then it's like, what is this? And the energy isn't there. So I think this is a good start. Sounds like there's going to be some important stuff going on. Jay White, he needs to be on that show. I think Maya World needs to at least get a promo on this show, even if it's like a fucking video or something. There's certain things I'll be looking for on this show tomorrow night.
Yeah, the only thing I thought of with that MJF Briscoe match being announced as first is because they want to get it out of the way. I think it's pretty predictable. MJF's going to keep the title. Should be a great match. I think they want to really focus on the build for MJF and Omega, so they're trying to get that out of the way. I think doing it at Beach Break was fine, but I think it kind of falls in the middle of the build, and they want to put all the focus on Omega and MJF. So I'm looking forward to that. Other spots in this match outside of what Jason mentioned, I laughed my ass off at the Leo Rush thing. I'm more in line with the Leo Rush thing now than I was 6-7 weeks ago. I think it's incredibly entertaining. I laughed my ass off when he came out of the bag. The other parts of this match, Briscoe had a backpack of thumbtacks that he dumped out. MJF back body dropped Darby Allin, and he did a revolution and landed on his face and hit the thumbtack. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? I'm like, this guy is absolutely out of his mind mental.
They said on commentary, and I looked on the replay, I thought they said something about how one of the tacks went in his eye. I'm like, oh my God, I hope not. So then they showed
his eyelid closed.
Oh, can you imagine? Like that thumbtack just goes right through
No.
I don't even want to think about that.
No, that's terrible. The system, the Nintendo system that Jason mentioned before, was a classic NES system. The controller was actually wrapped in barbed wire. I don't know what cartridge Kyle O'Reilly had brought to the ring, but he blew in it and then put the cartridge in the system and then hit Kyle Fletcher in the head with the system. So.
Well, it definitely, I can tell you right now, it definitely wasn't The Legend of Zelda because those cartridges were gold. I remember that.
Yes.
This one was not gold.
Yes, and if you can find a legit one, and I'm sure it's worth out of the box, still worth a lot of money. So I hope that's not the case.
I think I might still have mine. God, I think I have a case somewhere in one of the closets.
You should look, man.
Where like the cartridges, like little slots for the cartridges, and I still have the original NES and the gun, the duck hunt gun.
You should find that and buy a protective case for it. Who knows what type of condition it's in?
I should.
There was another spot here. Team Briscoe took a vitamin C break. There was a backpack again, and out of the backpack was a Ziploc bag full of orange slices packed by Willow Nightingale. And then Fletcher was bleeding here. Of course he was. And they took the vitamin C slices. They ate some, and then they poured or squeezed the orange slices, Jason, all over Kyle Fletcher's open wound. So he had vitamin C going to the open wound. I imagine that sucked, and that would suck on a normal night, but that's what they did there. And then obviously San Jose chanted, "You sick fuck," at all of them. So that was great. And then Konosuke Takeshita had, this guy's fucking crazy, man. The Blue Thunder Bomb on, I don't know who he did it to. Fletcher on the outside, Blue Thunder Bomb through the table on the outside. Oh, my God. I thought he might have broken his tailbone. That was ridiculous. Yeah. But it all came down to Andrade. He turned on the Don Callis family. He revealed another shirt under his original shirt that said, "Fuck Don and fuck MJF." So he went, some people were telling me, JD, you don't find that to be illogical? I'm like, I don't know. He picked a spot. He wrestled the whole fucking match with a "fuck Don and fuck MJF" shirt. And he was helping them for the first 25 minutes. So that happened. He turned, and Briscoe ends up getting the title shot because Andrade, he turned on the Don Callis family. So we'll wait to see what happens with Andrade and MJF. I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully they have some solid plans for both of them. Great match, fun match. People were kind of ragging on me because I said this was better than Fletcher and Ospreay at Revolution last year. I'm like, that didn't do anything for me. I found myself enjoying this more than any other steel cage match since, I would say, the Bucks and Lucha Brothers, which I was in the building for. I thought this was great. Ospreay swerve, men's Owen. 12:13 a.m. is when the bell rang. You know when the bell finished? 12:45. That's when we went off the air. This match went 31 minutes. I may be off by a minute or two. That's how long it went. So I'm not going to go over everything here, Jason. I'm going to focus mainly on the end. And this match is a rematch from their 2024 Forbidden Door match. I thought this was a very good match. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland are two guys that are incapable of having a bad match. But when you get to the end, and you're seeing vertebreakers, and you're seeing big pressure, and you're seeing the swerve stomp, and you're seeing the house call kick, and you're seeing these fucking vicious spots by Ospreay. I think he did at one point, he did a hangman-like elbow instead of the clothesline, the hidden blade. He did like a flipping hidden blade, like Hangman would do the clothesline.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, he did a buckshot.
Yeah.
Hidden blade, which I don't think he's. I don't remember him doing that in the match with Hangman and the Owen last year. So
no,
I looked at that and I was like, man, what a great finish. And then it wasn't a finish. I'm like, oh.
This match could have ended like fucking 3 or 4 different times within a span of 2 minutes.
But you know why? I tell you right now why they did what they did.
Well, why did they do what they do? Because I'm going to tell you, I enjoyed their 2024 match better than this match. Tell me why.
Because after everything that you just said, right, all the big moves and the double stomp and the buckshot hidden blade and the regular hidden blade and everything else, the Death Riders came out. And so the story here is that everything that they were throwing at each other and everything Ospreay was trying wasn't working. And when the Death Riders came out and they're banging on the mat and they're cheerleading him, he had to dig deep into what they have taught him over these last few months, the training that the Death Riders have given him. Because look at what he did. He did a paradigm shift, he did a Death Rider, and then he busted out the Tiger Driver, which, by the way, I have to mention this. 35 minutes, countless false finishes and near falls and big moves kicked out of. They get to the final move of the match. He gets the double underhook. He's going for the fucking Tiger Driver. And the camera cuts away to a shot of Jon Moxley at rings. Are you fucking kidding me?
Bro, I was so tired. I didn't even notice that. I didn't notice any of that.
Why would you cut away to a shot of Jon Moxley outside? Now, they cut back quick enough where we just barely caught the move at least. But like, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But that's what won it for him. So I feel exactly the same way that you felt, but I guarantee you that's why they did it that way, because they wanted to show nothing else was working. But when he digged down deep and he remembered everything that has been taught to him over these last couple of months, that's what put him over the top, and that's what won him the match. And so when it was over, I just said, like you said, great match, very, very bloody. Like, over the top.
For no reason. Like, it didn't need that much blood.
It was just ridiculous. Like, I mean, puddles of blood everywhere. And so it was a great match, though, great otherwise, right? Just battle between these two guys. And did you see the slow-mo video that AEW posted earlier on their social media of that hidden blade?
I did not.
It was when they each went to separate corners. And they were getting ready to kind of come out of their corners. Who's gonna hit first? And Ospreay gave him this hidden blade, which really wasn't hidden. I mean, they were facing each other, but he went to give. It was the scene blade, I guess you would say.
Is that the one that he kicked out at a 1-on?
It might have been. Now that I think about it,
that's when you lost my interest, man. I like, this is fucking ridiculous. Give me a break.
But like, he gives him this hidden blade, and then they slow it down, and this flip that swerve, like, it looked fucking amazing. Like in slow motion, it looked fantastic. But again, it wasn't the finish. They went overboard with it. Even if that's the story they were trying to tell, that nothing would work, and the Death Riders came out, and you want to kind of weave that into things, you still could have cut out like so much of that. There were just so many moves that they just kicked out of. And we see it all. It's not like this is a new thing. They do this a lot in AEW, but this was as bad as I've ever seen it. Like they kicked out of so much, and it was so late. And every time I thought the match was over, and it just kept going, and I'm like, this may never end. And then finally it ended with the Tiger Driver. That's my only real main critique of the match, is that it was overindulgent when it came to the near falls in this match.
Why do you think they felt the need to go so over the, and I mean, I'm stressing over the top compared to what they did in 2024. I look at 2024 Forbidden Door, where Swerve got the win. He was the champion, and that was such a great wrestling match where it didn't need that. Why did this need this?
Because they wanted to top that. And this is the thing. Like, every time you go out there with the mindset of, we got to top what we did before. How can we escalate? How can we outdo what we did the last time? We had a great wrestling match last time that went however long it went. Okay, now we got to top that. So you go with the dramatic near falls and the kickouts and the kick out at one and all of that is going to get a reaction from the people in the building. That's why they do it. It's like an addiction. It's like an addiction.
Speed Demon in the chat says they just needed a gun next time to beat each other. That's what it basically boiled down to.
We're going to get that at some point. Somebody will pull the pin on the grenade and just throw it and blow their opponent up.
I didn't even get into the Styles Clash on the fucking commentary table that happened earlier in the match too. Well, I mean, it was just all over the place. Swerve he got swung into the steps, and my God, if he missed by just an inch or less than an inch, his eye would have been out. Like, that's how hard he hit the steps. He hit the corner of the steel steps. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, but that's why that's why they do it. But just they just end up going over the top with it sometimes. And I mean, people were going nuts for the match. They were into the match. But it's just, again, you just go a little too far sometimes, and for some people, they don't care about that. For other people, it takes them out of the match. I just didn't think it was needed. And if you just cut some of that out, you still could have had a whole bunch of kickouts and near falls, but you just cut some of that out. And to me, it would have made it, that much better. But the outcome, you would have to be a damn fool who isn't paying attention to go into this show and think that this match was going any other way. Right? I mean, come on. This entire story since he came back from the injury is the Will Ospreay arc that is clearly leading to London. This could go no other way. Plus, he lost the first match. Of course, he's going to win this one, get that win back, and show that he's better now than he was 2 years ago. So it was predictable, but it didn't diminish. That didn't diminish the match, even though the outcome was predictable. They had a great match. I think I'm with you in that. If I had a pick of the three main events, what do I think was the match of the night? I go with the women's Owen fight.
It was the most impactful, yeah.
Yeah, so that, to me personally, that was my favorite. The cage match was fun. This was a great match. But if I had to pick one over the other, I would go with the Owen final on the women's side.
Ospreay was on his hands and, actually on his knees. He was about to just get the kill shot from, pun intended, from Swerve. And Moxley's on the outside. It's like the Death Riders acted as if fucking Paul Bearer was on the outside holding the urn. And the Undertaker found his second win, and he raises from the dead. It's like Moxley looked over, or Ospreay rather looked over at Moxley and got this fucking sudden urge to win the match. I'm like, bro, get the fuck out of here. Really?
Yeah. He like Mickey to Rocky. Like he was his corner man, and he gave him that last little bit of inspiration that he needed. Look, I thought that my original idea was that Moxley would be in this tournament, the Owen, and it would come down to Ospreay and Moxley in the finals. And they didn't do that. And then I was thinking that maybe they're setting up a match for Redemption where it's like one last test for Ospreay to see if he truly is ready. And again, no Continental title on the line or anything like that. And you could do Ospreay and Moxley. And I still think that could work. But then I was thinking about it a little bit more. And then I'm like, well, maybe they're setting up for Moxley to be his first challenger coming out of All In.
I like the final test aspect better.
Well, that's what I was thinking, and I'm like, the only thing is that if they want him to defend the Continental title on that show, then they might not want him in that match. And so if he loses the Continental title first, let's say at Wembley, it would open Moxley up, no title on him, to maybe be like they confront Ospreay after All In. They're like, congrats, our training worked, it paid off, but now, and then you kind of do him as Ospreay's first challenger. So I think that also works. I mean, I think either one works. I can't imagine that we don't get that match at some point because Ospreay's got to get that win back, man. He lost to Moxley the first time.
He does. I think that'll be a cool story to tell after everything we've seen. We'll see what happens going into Redemption. But I think, do we have another one? Yes, we do. We have another 100 bomb.
We got another bomb.
Yeah. We got Michael Caruth with a $100 super chat. Michael says, travel to Boston for TNA this weekend was a very good show in the arena. Well, first of all, Michael, thank you for your generosity tonight. Me and Jason really appreciate it, number one. Number two, I'm glad you had a good time, man. We also had a good time at home here watching the show. So I think TNA did a very good job on Sunday, and hopefully they can keep that momentum. I'm glad you had a good time. All right, that finishes our Forbidden Door coverage here as we move on.
Is this the latest that we have started the WWE discussion?
Well, I mean, I would rather get the AEW stuff out of the way because I would rather keep our audience. So this is the best
I know,
way to
but
do it.
I'm saying you're going to get some angry birds coming at you.
That's all right. That's a normal day over here. So we'll pick the. We're not going to go over like every detail here because honestly,
No, we don't need to.
No,
we don't need to go over every nook and cranny here. But we'll start with obviously the biggest thing that happened.
Well, let's start with the overall show. What'd you think of the show? I thought it was fucking bad.
Well, yeah, I was going to say starting with that show.
Yeah.
I thought, I'll tell you this, it was the weakest of all the shows that I saw all weekend. Yes. I have not yet watched the entire NXT show outside of the Kendall Gray main event, but this was the weakest of the three that I did see. I think outside of that main event, it was just not a very good show.
No.
That main event was the show. I thought that main event was excellent. And I thought, which I knew coming in, I mean, it would be impossible to put those three guys in the ring together and at least not get a very good match. So I loved the main event, and I just thought Night of Champions was total weak sauce otherwise.
Yeah, I just, there's just something about these PLEs that just doesn't stick. And when then you add them going to Saudi, I just feel there's just a lifeless, because the crowd is, when they're invested in it, the crowd is really good. But when there's not a major star out there that they have no interest in, like, for example, Trick Williams and Ricky Saints on Saturday, which was a good match. It was a television-style match that really didn't kind of feel like a PLE match, but they worked good. They worked good together. They got no reaction outside of Trick's entrance, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, but I don't want to just lay it on the fans, though. I mean, it was a very quiet crowd for large parts of the show. I don't just blame it on the crowd, though. Like, I don't remember what website it was after the next day. I was just curious, and I was looking up on some of these review sites, like what they gave the show or what they gave some of the matches. And the opening match on the show was the King of the Ring final. They opened that hour on ESPN with Oba Femi against Jey Uso.
Yeah.
And they were like maybe one or two different places, and it's like 4 stars. And I'm like, what? Were we watching the same show?
How did they come to that determination?
I don't know. And look, I understand that it's subjective and everybody has their opinions and you're entitled to your opinion. But I don't understand how, like, I guess people are just very giving when it comes to like rating these things. I highly disagree. I actually think between the 2 tournament finals, the women's was better. It was just the better match, even though the crowd was very quiet for it. As a match, I think Liv Morgan and IYO SKY was better than the match we got from Oba Femi and Jey Uso. But neither one of the matches were in any way memorable. I appreciated that they actually kept them straight. There was no Judgment Day interference. There was no Brock Lesnar interference. That was maybe the biggest surprise to me, that they were just straight wrestling matches. But there's absolutely nothing about them that screamed tournament final. And that was my biggest issue. King of the Ring, for example. There's any number of final matches that you could have put together that would have been fun or would have been a really good match. Remember the final we had a few years ago with Randy Orton and Gunther? That was a tremendous piece of business between those two. They gave us the most just basic TV style match that you could possibly
give us. I remember. I forgot what year it was. There was if it was a quarterfinal match or a semifinal match. I remember Chad Gable in the King of the Ring tournament a few years back wrestling Baron Corbin on Monday Night Raw.
That was the finals, dude.
It was that was a great fucking match.
It was the 2019 King of the Ring final. They had like an 18 or 20-minute match on Raw, and it was the best King of the Ring final now they weren't doing King of the Ring every year, but it was like the best King of the Ring final in ages that I had seen. It was a great match. Those two always had great chemistry together. So you can find like examples where we've gotten really quality final matches, which you would hope for because it's a tournament. And so when you get to the end of the tournament, you would hope that you're saving the best for last and you're going to have this really memorable final between two people who are going at it tooth and nail because they want that title match. I mean, evidently, Oba Femi doesn't want that title match anytime soon, but that's what you should be striving for. And I'm just like, okay, they had a match.
All right,
they had a very basic match.
So was I out of line? Because I said this on Saturday after the match was over. I put an additional thought in my tweet, and people were like, "Man, JD doesn't understand story." I'm like, "You're asking me? I don't understand story." This is exactly what I said. I said, if Brock didn't interfere and they gave us a clean outcome here with Oba and Jey Uso, who I think is one of the worst big match wrestlers in the entire industry right now. He's just not a good, interesting big match wrestler, in my opinion. Why didn't they opt to go with Javon Evans and Oba Femi? At least we would have gotten like a replay of what they did in NXT, which they largely work well together, and it would have been more of a final for the King of the Ring. Meanwhile, Jey Uso losing in the last round would have still factored into the overall story with Roman being upset with him. But why did they need him in this spot? Because of the unpredictability?
No. I tell you exactly why.
Why?
Because, well, why? Why do you think? Because
I understand that.
No. Jey Uso is a big name on the show, and he gets these, when he comes out for his entrance, he gets these great reactions, and the fans are into it, and they love to yeet. They did not want to leave him off this show. The idea of putting Javon Evans in that spot, like going to Saudi and having Javon Evans there instead of Jey Uso, doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute in their mind because you got to have Jey Uso there so everybody can do the entrance. No, I mean, look, this is a company, right. They care about, it's about star power. It's about entrances. It's about aura, right? That's what matters. That's number one, celebrities, right? This is what matters to them. So they wanted to get Jey Uso on the show. Thank God they didn't have him win, but they wanted him in the finals. That's why he was in the finals. Like, you want your answer, that's your answer. I agree with you. Like, as a match, I would have loved to have seen Oba and Javon. And if you saw any of their NXT matches together, they work really well together.
Yes, they do.
So, of course, from a wrestling match perspective, that would have been the better option. But they don't prioritize. The wrestling matches are not like priority number one. It's about all of this other stuff. And so you end up with, the Yeet Man and Oba Femi in the finals of the King of the Ring. And this is what you get. That's why they do it.
Yeah.
It's about the attraction.
I know.
Javon Evans is not the attraction that Jey Uso is right now.
Well, this wasn't much of a match. We were both surprised that there was no interference and was clean as it was. Oba wins. We'll get back to Oba in a second because he's going to be a big part of the discussion moving forward here. Liv Morgan, IYO SKY, Queen of the Ring. This was also on ESPN. This was better than the men, but, I mean, it's like pulling teeth to get a reaction out of the women here for this match.
Yeah, they didn't care about any of the women's matches on this show.
This was sad. And it wasn't like it was a bad match. I've seen better Liv Morgan matches. I'm sure you have as well, and IYO as well. But the right winner won here. IYO wins at 15 minutes. Did you like the fact that WWE probably gave away the ending to this match with Danhausen cursing Liv Morgan in the beginning? What was that all about? You think that was right?
Dude, they gave away the ending to this match as soon as the match was made. Like, did anybody think Liv was winning the Queen of the Ring?
Yes, there was. Sadly, there was, yes. Not me.
Would I have had Danhausen do that? No, because it did give away the finish. But they did it because they're building an angle for Madison Square Garden. Like, everything you saw on Raw last night.
Yes.
All these segments with the Judgment Day and Danhausen, it's building to either an angle or a match on Saturday night's main event. My guess is that Danhausen will be wrestling, and we get a Jalen Brunson appearance, maybe in his corner on that show.
Well, it's rumored that it will be Danhausen and J.D. McDonough.
Oh, is that the rumored match?
Yes.
Well, I guarantee you they're going to get someone from the Knicks, and I know Jalen Brunson's a big fan, so I think that's what this is all building to. Every angle with, you owe us money, and like Dom steals the Knicks jersey, and all of this is leading to July 18th. That's what this is building
to. Knicks won the finals 3 weeks ago, but it's like WWE, we won't let it go.
I mean, hey, if they can get Jalen Brunson on their show, why the hell not? I would.
I'm charging $1,000 per photo op at Fanatics Fest, too.
I don't know what he would be charging them to make an appearance on the show, but I'm sure they'll pay it.
Well, that's
big celebrity is a big celebrity get for them. This is what they live for. But that's what. So like Danhausen coming out and cursing Liv, all it is it's just continuing this angle with the Judgment Day that's building to whatever they're going to do on that Saturday night's main event show. So I wouldn't have done it in that spot because at this point they've established that if you get cursed, you're fucked. So you knew right away. If there was any doubt, like you knew right away who was winning. I even posted a tweet like after they did that, Liv was still coming down to the ring, and I'm like, "Congratulations, Queen IYO SKY," because it was like that was it. It's over. It's over. At that
you are cursed. It's over. Goodbye.
It's over.
The most dangerous finishing move in all pro wrestling is the curse.
Yes.
So IYO won, right move,
or the pen, the booking pen.
Yeah. Yes. Depending on who's holding it, I don't know who's worse. Take your choice. EO wins. Right move. We'll talk about EO in just a second because they did an angle on Monday Night Raw. Rollins and Breaker, steel cage match. This was the second best match of the night. I really enjoyed this. It started slow, and Rollins wins in 19 minutes. It started as a typical WWE steel cage match, and they really kind of turned up the juice here, Jason. What did you think of the overall match by the time it was over? I know everybody expected Rollins to win here. I know a lot of fans right now on social media have been very vocal about Breaker and the creative for Braun Breaker. The Vision may be disbanding after what we saw of Paul Heyman last night, kind of just cold shouldering Austin Theory.
They should be disbanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they go to Raw in Chicago next week, just to kind of deviate for a second, we know there's going to be a tag team championship rematch next week. Austin Theory, Braun Breaker against the Street Profits. I'm going to be very disappointed if by the time that match is over, Braun Breaker doesn't spear the fuck out of Austin Theory.
Yeah.
That's how this should play out. Because now, like, Braun Breaker loses this match. I was bored by the first half of this match. I thought the first half of this match was very boring. It was very slow. And the second half, it really picked up. They did some cool stuff. By the end of it, I liked it. I just wasn't a fan of, like, again, the first half of it. It just wasn't doing anything for me. These two guys have been locked in a bitter rivalry that dates back to last year when they kicked Rollins out of this group. And when the bell rang and they're in a cage, right, it didn't have the urgency like a real grudge match.
No.
And then what they were doing was just very slow and plodding, and I'm like waiting for it to really pick up, and then eventually it did. So by the time it was over, I liked it. I'll say this about Rollins going over, especially now that we know what Rollins is doing at SummerSlam. He had to win this match. I understand people being upset. Oh my God, why did they beat Braun Breaker? What? It's a terrible look when you are coming off a month where you just beat Jacob Fatu, not once but twice in matches with Roman Reigns. And Oba even lost. I mean, Oba's fine, obviously, but Oba lost to Brock on the Clash in Italy show as well because they had to give Brock a win. And now, like, Braun, at the end of this feud, loses to Seth Rollins, right? It's a bad look. And Rollins is going to SummerSlam for the title. Braun Breaker, I feel like you got to turn him babyface. Because what the hell else do you do with him at this point? He just lost this feud. He's trapped in this group that's just on a path to nowhere. I think he would benefit by breaking away from them on his own as this badass. I'm not like kissing babies babyface, but like as a badass babyface, because he's lost a lot of steam since the beginning of the year. He lost to Punk. He got hurt. He went away. He came back. He just lost the feud to Rollins. Oba is the new shiny toy.
Yes. That's what I was gonna mention to you. I've been saying that the last few weeks now. Like, Oba and his resurgence is harming Braun Breaker. Do you think a move away from for Braun Breaker, away from Oba, is the move here to make? Because on the same brand, I don't know how they can coexist, because WWE's always going to look at Oba as the top guy.
Maybe. I mean, SmackDown, I think, is about to get a very big name on their roster, so I don't know if they would want to move Breaker over to SmackDown as well, but at least breaking him away from this Vision stuff, because I think the Vision stuff has actually brought him down. It hasn't really elevated him.
Yeah.
It's more of an albatross around his neck right now, so that is something to keep an eye on now, is what is the next move for him. That's why I said next week he's going to be back on the show, and that's what I'm hoping to see, because I certainly we don't need to see the tag belts back on Braun Breaker and Austin Theory. Actually, Breaker even being associated, frankly, with Austin Theory, I think is a negative. Like, I'm sorry, but Theory was just, he was so damaged for so long, and I know they've tried to rehabilitate him here in this group. And is he really in that much of a better position now? I mean, he's the fall guy for the Vision. I called it from day one. I said that's the only reason they added into this group, is to be the fall guy for the Vision.
And Bronson Reed's not even back yet. He's gotten the best shape of his career. Him coming back would be a negative for him too. I just fucking, like Jason said, just kill the whole group.
Yeah, I mean, you may as well at this point.
Yeah.
So for Rollins, though, if he was going to the main event of SummerSlam, he had to win this.
Yeah, absolutely. We will get back to literally both of what we said on Monday on our Raw reviews, because all of this ended up just going into the direction that we ended up talking about 5 weeks ago anyway. So we'll get back to all this. There was a great suplex spot off the top of the cage through a table down below in this match between both guys. There was a Breaker miss spear in the corner. He went through the table. Rollins hit the curb stomp and a pedigree. And then at the end, there was a very, very kind of climactic spot where Breakker was on his knees. He put his hands in the air for Rollins to stop the stomp. And then he does that break hand gesture he does. And then he jumped off the middle turnbuckle with an avalanche stop. Yeah, that's what he did. 1, 2, 3, and that's what put Breakker away. Good match, like Jason said, really slow to start, and they really picked it up at the end.
And I'll tell you what added to it, the blood. So Breakker getting busted open, half of his face covered in blood. And in a cage match, when you have blood, as long as you don't go too over the top with it, it adds a lot, especially in WWE, because we don't get a lot of blood like that in WWE. And so I didn't even see initially how it happened. Somebody told me it happened, I guess, when he got superplexed.
Yes.
That maybe
one of the shards,
So that would make sense.
Yeah.
As it turned out, I think it added a lot to that match.
Yeah, they really kind of focused on that. WWE back in the day would kind of tune away from that, and they really focused on that.
They would have sent word to the referee, like, grab a towel, we'll take the camera off him, and tell him to wipe it off. So, which would have been ridiculous here. Like, you may as well use it. You're on a PLE. You're not on TV. Use it to your advantage.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with Breakker. Rollins is going to SummerSlam. We'll talk about him in a second. Trick Williams and Ricky Saints. Trick Williams retained the championship. No surprise there. Carmelo Hayes should absolutely be factored into the U.S. title picture. I'm sure Ricky Saints is going to be hanging around as well going into SummerSlam. Decent match, went 10 minutes. Crowd was dead. Trick Williams got the win. Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. This was the worst match on the show. I would put this below Oba and Jey Uso. This was, again, very academic. Tiffany Stratton wins thanks to Charlotte Flair as they are setting up Jade and Charlotte for SummerSlam. Crowd wasn't much into this at all either, so take that as you will. And then the main event. This is what we're all here for. Sami Zayn, Gunther, Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. This was a triple threat match that went, I want to say, 19 minutes or so. This was by far the best thing on the show, and this has caused quite the division in the community, Jason. A lot of people look at Sami Zayn on one hand. They are ride or dies. I know I've been a ride or die Sami Zayn fan since he first joined NXT, and I went over a nice career retrospective on my post show on Saturday afternoon. Loved Sami Zayn in the bloodline. I know we can talk about that and make a whole fucking show on him being the honorary Uce. And then the chase for the world championship, the betrayal of Roman Reigns, and the chair shot at the Royal Rumble. And the fact that he was such an integral part in making the bloodline and taking it to the next level. And then you got people, on the other hand, where all this Sami Zayn hate just came out of nowhere. And now all of a sudden, Sami is undeserving. He doesn't look like a champion. He should be bagging my groceries at Stop and Shop. I mean, you name it. There's every excuse. Political nonsense, which I killed at the door. I don't want to hear none of that shit. The fact of the matter is, Sami Zayn won the WWE Championship because, like you said, Jason, and we all seen it, the smart people seen it, a little tweak in his character. He went from losing to Trick Williams in the Gingerbread Man to just a little tweak in that character, and he made Cody Rhodes feel important. Cody Rhodes was very vanilla, very boring. Sami Zayn took that character, and he really brought out the best in Cody Rhodes. And I feel, this is just me speaking personally, I love Cody. I think Cody's one of the best storytellers in the business. But Cody as a champion has been very boring. There is a certain Cody fatigue. Putting the championship on Sami Zayn for a week is not going to kill the overall fatigue we're feeling with SmackDown. Him winning the championship here, holding it till SummerSlam, 2 months, I would say, would do a lot of good for SmackDown because Sami is a great promo and Sami is a great storyteller. That's why they put the title on Sami Zayn. Now, I'm hoping that we are all wrong here and that the title reign does last going into SummerSlam because the rumors that we're hearing are not very positive. How do you feel about Sami winning the championship and all the negativity that came with it, Jason? Why are you feeling like Sami is the right choice for the championship right now?
Because Sami Zayn is the most compelling character on the entire show on SmackDown each and every week. It's as simple as that. I mean, that was not the case 6 months ago. And I think even Sami just did an interview and said that 6 months ago when he had that title match with Drew McIntyre in Saudi, like it was around that time, and he failed to win the championship, even he was it kind of shook his faith that maybe this moment was never going to come. At the time, I didn't feel like he was anywhere close to finally winning that world title and telling that story. That felt like that was going to be so far in the future because there was nothing interesting about what he was doing on TV. It was a very boring, bland, one-dimensional character. And as you said, like a few small tweaks, maybe a little bit of luck in the booking and the way things fall can make all the difference in the world. And this whole last real good guy thing and what he was doing, which really was just an outgrowth of the fans starting to turn on him. And he would come out and have this confused look on his face, like, you know, why are these people reacting this way? And he just incorporated it into the character. And it started to just kind of grow from there. And it became the most interesting thing on a show that was terribly uninteresting. And still is, by the way. He is still the most compelling thing on the show. Hopefully that will begin to change, especially if we get a CM Punk move to SmackDown. I think that will help immensely. But I think we were kind of the same opinion coming into this show that it's like Cody right now, Cody is at his best when he has somebody to play off of. That's what made the stuff with him and Kevin Owens so great. And Kevin Owens is fantastic. Sami is the same way. You come up with the right story, you give him somebody good to play off of, that's where the gold is. If you were to tell me right now that the SummerSlam night 1, let's say main event night 2, whatever, is going to be Cody and Sami in a singles rematch, I'd be okay with that.
Me too.
If that was one of the main events, I'd be okay with that. So coming into the show, I said, you know what? Like, there's no harm in putting the championship on Sami Zayn. I don't think either one of us expect him to hold on to it for very long, right? We know it's going to be a temporary thing, whether it's a month, 2 months, a week. It could be a very short run, which I hope it isn't, but there's no harm in that. I saw some people were like, well, they just did it to pander to the fans in Saudi. And I said, you do realize that he wrestled in Saudi for the championship earlier this year and he got beat. So they didn't just put the belt on him to pander, right? They probably looked at it and said, hey, this would be a great place to do it because we know that he's going to be super over. But that's not the only reason that he won the world championship on this show. And I see a lot of the same criticism online. Oh, he looks like my Uber driver and all this other bullshit that people are saying. I can't take this guy seriously as a world champion.
He looks like he should be cleaning aisle 7 in the supermarket with a fucking mop.
Yeah. And look, I heard the same things about Darby Allin when he won the AEW World Title a couple of months ago. And yes, Darby Allin does not look like your prototypical world champion. He's a very small guy who, if you were to see him in a crowd of people, you would never guess that he was a professional wrestling world champion. And people had the same criticism about him. And he had a short run that I thought was fine, right? It was brief. It was impactful. He was defending the championship against all different people, having these great matches. And the world didn't burn down to the ground. Sami Zayn being the champion, I will use Mankind as an example. If people looked at Mick Foley back then, as compared to The Rock, as compared to The Undertaker, as compared to Stone Cold Steve Austin, a great athlete like Kurt Angle, Mankind wearing the ripped up dress shirt with the tie, looking all disheveled like he was living under a fucking bridge somewhere. He didn't exactly look like your prototypical world champion either. And he won the title a few times and traded it back and forth with The Rock. And it was a great story and a great rivalry with those two, even though he didn't really fit the mold. Daniel Bryan. I heard a lot of these same criticisms about Daniel Bryan. I can't take this guy seriously. He looks like a goat. He's too small. This is terrible. I can't believe they're putting the world championship on this guy. Meanwhile, Daniel Bryan ended up getting over organically and becoming one of the most important wrestlers in the 2010s. And you could even look at Kofi Kingston if you want to, and the whole Kofi Mania thing from 2019. I wouldn't say Kofi Kingston is necessarily going to be anyone's top pick that you point out of a crowd. Hey, that guy looks like a world champion. But they had the story to support it. The fans got behind him. Kofi Mania. It was great. And that WrestleMania win was just tremendous. Again, people weeping in the crowd when he won the title. And then he held on to it for 6 months and he had a run. So the point is, like, you can look at Sami Zayn and say that, boy, you know, he doesn't look like a world champion, right? Okay, sure. Yeah, he's not Hogan. He doesn't have big muscles like the Warrior. He's not 6'8". Honestly, there aren't very many people in wrestling today who are, if we're being honest. Like, we're in an era,
yes.
We're in an era of pro wrestling right now where a lot of these guys, they don't look the way that those guys looked like 30 years ago.
To add to that, too, a lot of people are saying that Sami's not going to bring in a new audience or draw the ratings any higher. But nobody in the industry is doing that now anyway.
But that's not his goal.
No,
okay,
it's not.
That's not the reason they put the championship on him. He is not going to be the guy. He is not going to be the face of the brand. He is not going to be the champion for 6 months or a year like Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns or CM Punk. That's not his role. This is what people don't understand. His role is to be the champion in the here and now. This is going to be a fleeting moment. It may well be over by the time you and I come on here and do this show next week.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah, they may do to him what they did to Christian back in 2011. That may be what we're in for. But regardless, like, people need to get that out of their mind. Like, oh, he's not going to sell tickets. He's not going to do. The ratings are going to go down. Well, let WWE worry about that. I don't think he's going to be champion long enough to even make that much of a dent on business. But if they want to put the world title on him for a few weeks or for a month or two, I see no harm in that whatsoever, because these shows have been so, in some weeks, they have been so atrociously bad. I appreciate what Sami has brought to the table over these last, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it's been. And I'll give you one more example. Everything that these people are saying about Sami Zayn right now and the way he looks and he doesn't look like a champion, these are the same fucking people that would be saying the same thing about Kevin Owens. He comes out there, he's wearing basketball shorts, he looks like a bum who just was playing pickup basketball in the park with his friends. And I don't think anybody watching this right now is going to doubt how great of a fucking wrestler Kevin Owens is. He's fantastic. He is sorely missed on SmackDown. I can't wait to get him back. Kevin Owens could do it all. Kevin Owens could be a babyface, he could be a heel, he could wrestle, he could do comedy, he could be serious. He's a great performer. Sami Zayn is cut from the same cloth. I don't have an issue at all putting the championship on him, as long as you have the right story and the right character and you could just keep me engrossed in the show. That's all I ask. And Cody Rhodes losing the belt, I feel the same way I felt in January when Drew McIntyre beat him. It had to happen. It was so stale and it was so sterile. We needed a shakeup going into WrestleMania. This gives us a little shakeup going into SummerSlam. What's the harm in that? What is the harm in that? It doesn't harm Cody. We know Cody's going to get the belt back at some point. What harm does it do to the show to put the belt on Sami Zayn for a brief period of time?
It does not.
How does that ruin the championship?
It doesn't ruin anything. It doesn't ruin anything.
It's just so over the top and so ridiculous. I'm not saying you have to like Sami Zayn. Like whoever you want to like. If you're not a Sami Zayn fan, that's fine. But the idea that, like, oh, he doesn't deserve it, or oh, it's going to ruin the product or something. It's so preposterous, because again, you could find examples of other people who got the same kind of comments and somehow the product managed to survive. It's going to be okay. I promise you, everything's going to be fine in the end. And he's not going to have it for very long. I loved it. I think this is exactly what the show needed, however long it lasts for. And I'm happy for him too, because again, I followed his career going back many, many years, and we know how great of a wrestler he is. I'm glad he finally got this moment. 10 years.
10 years?
They said 10 chances he had to win a world championship, which means he failed 9 times.
Yep.
It took 10 years for him to get there, but he finally got there. And if this is the only time he ever gets it, I'm glad he was able to get it. Despite all the haters out there, I'm happy that he got this moment.
10 years on the main roster, 3 years with NXT. A lot of people, just to add on top of what you said, a lot of people say that this is the wrong move, yet nobody can come up with a solid enough reason to give me something better for Friday Night SmackDown. Where exactly would you want to go creatively with Friday Night SmackDown with the WWE Championship? Why remain the same? Nobody can give me a straight answer as to why, when I say Sami Zayn should win the WWE Championship and at least hold the championship for a month or two, tops. Nobody's got a good answer. So, Sami Zayn is the right choice. And I agree with everything you said there. So now we go, and I have to shout him out here because...
Is that my boy Boots?
Yes, it is. We got a $100 super chat. A bomb, no message. Boots. Like Batman in the night. Comes in and then
I haven't
leaves.
seen Boots on my end in a while. Boots, you left me high and dry, Boots. I'm brokenhearted. But I'm glad to see you here.
All right. I don't want to reveal any spoilers. I don't think our audience really cares. All I will say is that Cody and Jey Uso are wrestling on Friday Night SmackDown for a shot at Sami Zayn in the WWE Championship. Now, I will pose you this question. I don't know where they're going into SummerSlam. All I know is that CM Punk is going to be a big factor in the WWE Championship title picture going into SummerSlam, as he should. The rumor was he's going to come back in Chicago on July 6th. That looks to be the case. If by chance, because I don't want to spoil anything, I know what happens, Cody and Sami gets a rematch, are we putting the belt back on Cody Rhodes before SummerSlam to do Punk and Cody for the WWE title at SummerSlam in Minneapolis? Or are we going about having that match take place non-title? Because I've said on this platform many times, my preferred championship match, if built right, is Cody and CM Punk. Now that we may possibly be going back to Cody and the WWE title, we're going to have 4 weeks, less than 4 weeks, between now and SummerSlam. Is that enough time, Jason, to do a Cody CM Punk match for the WWE title going into SummerSlam, and then who wins?
I mean, it's enough time to do a first match, like
for the title.
For the title, yes. Well, I mean, I almost think it has to be for the title, because if you even go back to their promo earlier this year where Punk was talking about a championship opportunity and everything, it was kind of focused around the title. So, yes, I think it not that it wouldn't work if you wanted them in a non-title match, but I think it works better if the title is on the line. Here's the other reason why. Actually, there's an even better reason why. If things work out where, let's say, the title somehow finds its way back around Cody's waist before SummerSlam, and they do Cody and Punk, right? Clearly, that's going to be one of the main events. Even without the title, though, don't you think that would probably be the main event of whatever night that match takes place?
Well,
okay.
I mean, it depends on if they do Oba Brock in Hell in a Cell main event, but I could see them actually maybe opening with that, honestly.
But Cody and Punk is, I mean, that's a main event.
Yes.
Okay. If you keep the belt on Sami for a while, but you're still going to go ahead and do a match like Cody and Punk, I feel like you're just handicapping Sami and giving him one of those like Chris Jericho or Jack Swagger runs where he's the champion, but he's not really the focal point. And so you're just diminishing the title, and I don't like that. And so if you're going to do that, you may as well just put the belt back on Cody and make sure that belt is in the main event. Otherwise, I don't really see how that serves Sami, and I don't see how that serves the title. If you're just going to say, all right, we'll keep the belt on him, but we'll have him on the undercard somewhere. And these guys, the real main event, they'll be in the main event slot. Well, no, if you're going to have them in the main event, then you may as well make it for the championship. Don't make your title less than. So, yeah, I think it kind of has to have the title on the line, honestly, if you're going to do that match.
Well, what do you do with Sami then?
Well, I don't know.
Are we seeing a Kevin Owens return? Do you think we're getting a Kevin Owens return?
I would love to see it. I would love to see it, but the thing is, we don't know what his status is. Again, I think in July of last year is when he had his surgery, so we don't know. We don't know if he's medically cleared and they're keeping it hush-hush. I don't think so. I don't know when he's going to be cleared. I would love for him to be back tomorrow because, again, he's sorely missed, and now Sami's the champion. So whether they're on the same side or they're feuding, like the timing is so perfect for a Kevin Owens return. I don't know. Are we looking at a situation where all three men are in the ring together? Do we end up with a triple threat kind of scenario?
We just had a triple threat match, though.
I know. I'm just saying, though, would they do that where you get Cody and Punk in the ring together, but they're not ready to do it one-on-one? Sami's the champion, let's say going into SummerSlam if they keep the belt on him. And so all three men are in the match, and Sami could kind of squeak out a win. Like, you can't rule it out. It's a possibility. Because if to answer your question, like if they do Cody and Punk, what do they do with Sami? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know who else is on who else is on SmackDown that would make sense then for him to be
there's
working with.
There's nobody. I like that option a lot better than the options that the IWC have come up with. Everyone, apparently, I had to block people in the chat last night because people were just pissing me the fuck off. Oh, Brock Lesnar's going to Brock Lesnar's going to wrestle Oba Femi for the WWE Championship because Brock is going to beat Sami Zayn at Saturday night's main event for the title. I'm like, that don't even make logistical sense. Why would you even bother doing that? Like, how do you even come to that? Like, who wants that?
Yeah, nobody wants. Well, I mean, clearly there are people who don't want Sami Zayn as champion who would love that because Brock Lesnar, he's a real man, and so he should have the belt. But like, that would be fucking awful, right? That would be terrible. The Brock and Oba thing, that doesn't need the championship, right? They've established a personal issue that they're paying off inside of the cell. It doesn't need the belt. And just the meltdown people would have if it would be like Kofi all over again when Brock beat Kofi in 8 seconds to win the championship. That would be ridiculous if they were to do that. So I saw the same thing. That would be very, very stupid. Yeah, I mean, again, there really isn't another name I could think of on SmackDown right now. Drew McIntyre, I know, has been out. We're not going back to Drew and Sami, though. I mean, that can't be the option.
No.
So there really is no other good person if Sammy's not working with Cody. Or Cody and Punk. I mean, that would really be.
I was convinced we were going to get Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. I was really convinced last night.
Well, I mean, Jey Uso flat out said, "I'm going to SmackDown." And challenging him for the belt, and my heart sank because I just thought you had. It's almost like having your cake and eating it too. Where I'm like, they're not going to have Oba win the crown, but still give Jey the title match. Like that would be atrocious. So I think they get off on this. I think they get off on making fans like you and me sweat. I say fans like you and me. I mean anybody who's been talking about this on social media who does not want to see Jey Uso in this spot. I think they get off on like really kind of teasing us and making us think that he's, going to win or going to be the champion again. And then, I think they probably enjoy it. They enjoy torturing people in that way. I wouldn't be surprised. I thought it was a possibility coming out of last night. It doesn't, I don't think that the world title is in the cards for Jey Uso again anytime soon. So I think we can hopefully put that to bed. I guess we'll find out on Friday, but hopefully we can put that to bed by the end of this week. If you look at what they have set up so far for SummerSlam, as far as the, and we'll go through the rest of it here, but as far as like the top part of the card, I mean, they have some strong matches. I'm not saying that they don't have some big matches that it looks like we're going to be, getting on the card. Apparently, they're looking to do 13 or 14 matches from what I read, which I think is similar to what they did at WrestleMania, right? They did 7 and 6, I think.
Each went 7 or 8 minutes with a 7-minute ad break in between.
Was it 6 or 7?
It was 6 on one night and 7 on the other.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, and Jey Uso, I could see Jey Uso wrestling LA Knight on that show, to be honest with you.
I could. Or you could get a 3-on-3 with, we'll talk about it in a second, but we'll go over that and where we are there. The one last thing we need to talk about is this Oba Femi Brock Lesnar situation. Obviously, everybody kind of figured it was going to lead to them wrestling at SummerSlam because leaving Brock off the card just didn't make any sense at all creatively, being that they were in Minneapolis. Oba won King of the Ring, and he beat Jey Uso on Saturday. So Oba comes out, coronation. He's got a championship opportunity. He's going to choose either Roman or Sami. I said, the easy pick here is Sami. Why do you want to go against Roman and battle fucking Roman and the rest of the bloodline? Plus, Sami's got the more prestigious title, in my opinion, and it's an easier in. And I don't really see Roman Reigns losing the championship this soon after 4 months. He's holding the title, in my opinion, at least till WrestleMania. So they have Oba and Brock. Brock comes on out. He has this sarcastic way with Oba. He's telling him he doesn't watch the program, and he won King of the Ring back in his day. And it's like, thanks for telling us that. That's actually a shoot, folks. Brock
that
does
is
not
a shoot.
He does not watch the product.
No, Brock Lesnar is not sitting there each week, sitting through the Netflix ads and watching JD McDonough against Chad Gable.
No.
Yes.
He says he's not a good promo, which is why he's got Mr. Heyman, which last night, I mean, Brock Lesnar didn't really mince his words. He actually cut a decent promo last night.
I thought it was the best promo he's cut since he came back.
It was very entertaining last night.
Which is funny because in the promo, he said, that's why I have Heyman with me, because people say I'm not a good promo. And funny enough, I thought by the time this was all over, this was probably his best promo.
So, he said to Oba, you called me a coward, you called me a bitch. And basically, when you talk shit, you get hit. And he hit him in the dick. So that's what happened there. He walks away, proved to Oba that he was a coward because he just hit and run. Oba says, SummerSlam. Me and you, third match. Brock says, all right, I'll take you up on your offer. I'm going to one-up you. Hell in a Cell. So later literally right after this segment, in the opening segment, he goes to Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce and Oba are there. And he says, do you really want to give up your championship opportunity? Oba's like, yeah, that's always going to be there for me. I want to finish Brock inside Hell in a Cell. This is what I want. I'm like, okay. So at first, Jason, I didn't really mind it because, I'm looking at it and I'm like, all right, this frees them up creatively. So Oba and Roman, everyone wants that match. It's like Oba's not winning the championship, and I don't think they're going to do that double dip where Oba wrestles on Saturday and then wrestles on Sunday. It's just way too much. It's just over the top. You don't need to do that so early. So then I'm looking at it and I'm saying, I'm looking at this, and we talked about this on this show. I'm sure you talked about it. I mentioned this fucking back in May. Rollins is a shoe-in for SummerSlam and Roman. Then we get the King of the Ring announced. And I'm like, all right, Rollins is going to win King of the Ring. I see him on one side. I see him on one side and Breaker on the other. I'm like, there's your final right there. So we go all the way into the King of the Ring. Oba wins. He gets to the second round. He wrestles. Who did he wrestle in the second round? I forgot who he wrestled in the second round. Who did he beat in the second round? Oba, yeah. Dominic. That's right. He beat Dominic. He goes to the finals. Rollins is losing. He's just bounced out of the tournament. Braun Breaker's bounced out. And Oba and Jay go to the finals. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, all right. Rollins and Breaker wrestled at the pay-per-view on Saturday. Jay Uso's in the finals with Oba. We come to Monday night. Oba's the king. He bypasses his championship match. We get Hell in a Cell with Brock. Rollins is in the main event segment saying that I want Roman Reigns because theoretically there's nobody else for Roman to wrestle. Why didn't we go and do originally what we discussed with Rollins and Breaker in the finals? They wrestled on Saturday anyway inside a steel cage. Why didn't they end up in the finals? It would have made the match more important, and it would have been a closing chapter for that feud. Rollins would have won the King of the Ring. He could have showed up on Monday, go to Roman and say, I want my championship match, and he's earned it at that point. And then Oba and Brock, we talked about for weeks. He should have just attacked Oba in the semifinals, which should have been him and Breaker. He could have cost Oba the match. Braun goes on to the finals. Oba has all the reason in the world to challenge Brock Lesnar again at SummerSlam. Jason, they took the most convoluted way to get to where we originally thought they were going to go. And at the same time, they ruined the King of the Ring because we got advertised for 5 weeks that we were going to get a championship match at SummerSlam. Now we're not via the King of the Ring. And they've turned it into a de facto Money in the Bank. So how are you looking at this? I mean, is this really like Chat GPT, or is this how they usually book the fucking show here?
I think there's a very simple explanation for it. And it kind of goes back to what I told you before about why Jey Uso was on this show and not someone like Javon Evans. Because if you look at it from WWE's perspective, we want to get Seth Rollins on this show in Saudi. We want to get Oba Femi on this show. If we have Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker not in the cage, but we have them in the finals of the King of the Ring, then we can't have Oba Femi on the show. And we got to get Oba Femi on the show. So let's put Oba in the tournament and Jay, and so they'll have a reason to be on the show. So we can have Seth and Breaker do something separate in a cage. And that way we get all the big names on the show, because we don't want to do, if Oba gets bounced in the opening round, let's say because of Brock, we can't do Oba and Brock at Night of Champions. We have to save that for SummerSlam. So what does Oba do in the meantime? I think this is what they were thinking when they put all of this together. It's like, sure, we could do Rollins and Breaker in the finals, but then we have to also figure out, what are we doing with these other people? We need them on that show. We want them on the poster. We want them on that show. How do we get all of them on there? And this is what they came up with, because at the end of the day, they don't give a shit about the small details. They don't give it, like, if they delay the title match to another date, they don't give a shit, even though it's ridiculous. If you're watching the show, like in the context of things, it sounds ridiculous because that was the stipulation. You're just setting it aside now. But when they're making these top line decisions, I don't think the little details like that factor into their thinking. That's of no consequence to them. Their concern is, how do we get Oba Femi on the show where it makes sense for him to be there? If he was already fucked over by Brock, who else would he be wrestling on that show if not Brock? And we're not ready to do that match yet.
I get your point, but
I'm telling you what I think their logic is behind them making these decisions. You're right in that it's preposterous. They spent all these weeks building up a tournament for a title shot that I assume he's still going to get his shot. He's just sort of setting it aside. But it was supposed to happen on their second biggest show of the year. And now it's not. So why would they do that? Why did they have Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble when apparently their plan for him was to not even go to WrestleMania and challenge for the championship.
Oh, that's the way it was always going to be, says Nick Khan. You know,
of course, yeah, that was always the plan. But again, that's just another one of those stupid decisions. Like, why would they do that, right? They don't care about the rules, and they don't care about like the sanctity of like the stipulations and all that. Like, they're looking at it just from a business perspective. We got to get all these people on the show. This is the easiest way to do that. And if a bunch of fucking idiots on social media don't like it, we don't give a shit.
Well, maybe it's my fault because maybe I put a lot more credibility in the King of the Ring than WWE does. I guess it's more fond to me in my childhood, and I think it's like fucking super important, and it really isn't. So that's probably my fault. But the thing is, you know, they could have put Jey Uso on the show. They could have put him in a match with LA Knight or fucking something with the Bloodline or his brother. They had 3 championship matches on a show called Night of Champions. They have other titles, Penta. They have, you know, the Women's Intercontinental title. There's other titles that they could have featured in major matches.
But they don't. Why would they though? Those titles aren't important enough to be on a PLE to them.
So
like,
Oba's entrance is more important than Penta's IC title?
Yes. Of course.
I know it is, but it sounds ridiculous.
It sounds ridiculous, but I'm just telling you, I mean, you can't be surprised, but I'm telling you the answer.
It sounds awful. That's
the Oba Femi is going to be their big top star. Penta is not. Penta's great, and Penta's a great intercontinental champion on the undercard. He's got a great entrance himself, and he has great matches. But Oba Femi is the guy. So everything about Oba Femi, everything about his presentation, the music, the entrance, the aura, that's the most important. That's far more important to them than anything Penta's doing. Tiffany Stratton just defended her women's U.S. title on this show. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that since the title was created at the end of last year, this is the first time that championship has been defended on a PLE. Was it defended at WrestleMania this year?
No.
Because Chelsea would have had. I don't think it was defended. I'm
no,
pretty
who
sure
had it? Julia. I think Julia had it.
Okay, though it definitely wasn't defended at WrestleMania. So it took this long to get that championship defended on a PLE. They don't care, dude. They don't look at it. They don't look at it that way, where you should make these championships meaningful, right? Like if we were in a position where we had some say in it, I think we would do everything in our power because we're fans and we want things to try to make as much sense as possible. We would take whatever measures we felt we could take to make these titles feel super important. They don't care. That's not the priority for them. Tiffany only defended that title on this show because Rhea Ripley got hurt. That's the only reason we had a U.S. title match on this show.
Well, what pisses me off as a fan and a creator is because I get people claiming you complain about everything, JD. You're always negative. I'm like, but you people are having your intelligence insulted by Triple H, and you just take what he serves you and you eat it like a good little soldier. I don't like having my intelligence insulted because for 5 weeks we were told we're getting a championship match and then we're not. And Triple H has done everything possible to kind of get the one up on the IWC. Oh, they think they know my plans? I'll show them. And he's doing all this other convoluted shit to take all these back roads to get us to the original destination that I think everybody kind of knew we were going into SummerSlam. These are the people that say, we don't listen to the online criticism, but you're listening to the online criticism and doing everything in your power to book against that to try and claim that we're wrong and you're right. That's the problem I have. And it makes them look stupid, and it makes them look hypocritical. But, you know, they're not going to change. They're going to continue to try and pull the wool over our eyes. And, you know, we're just going to continue to call out the nonsense that we see like this. It's ridiculous. Now we're going to have the Money in the Bank in October. Oba Femi's going to have a title match that he's going to cash in at some other point. I don't know when that's going to be. Is he going to? What is he going to hold it till after the Royal Rumble?
No, I think well, there's two things. There's actually two scenarios here. I was thinking about this. So we know they haven't announced it yet, but we know that there's going to be another WrestlePalooza because that's their new thing now. Mark Shapiro loves WrestlePalooza, right? This is going to be our new big show. Maybe he does it at WrestlePalooza. If they really want WrestlePalooza to be a big deal this year, I could see Oba saying, "Okay, I want my title match on that show." Which, think about it. If he wants to get Brock out of the way first, he beats Brock at SummerSlam, then logically the next thing that Oba should want is his title match. Because what else is he going to do?
Yes.
He's going to sit around for 6 months, twiddling his thumbs, waiting for the right time to say, hey, I'm ready for my title match now. So it could be a WrestlePalooza match. The other scenario is that WWE just forget about it, and they have Oba win the Royal Rumble, and he gets a WrestleMania title match by virtue of winning the Royal Rumble.
That I could see being a real possibility.
Yes, I can too.
Because if he wrestles someone at WrestlePalooza, who is that going to be? It's going to be Cody, Punk, or Sammy. And if he wrestles Roman, he's certainly not beating Roman.
No, I would think it would be Roman.
Well, he's not beating Roman.
Probably not.
No.
But I could see him losing to Roman with the idea that they then they run it back in Mania next year in the rematch. Like he loses the first one, and then at Mania in Saudi they run it back again.
I guess that's the offset. He beats Brock inside the most dangerous structure in WWE history, and then loses to Roman Reigns. So it kind of balances itself out.
I could see that being their logic behind it. Yeah. And Roman at the beginning of the summer, or it was after Mania, Roman is the one who made the comment that you got me through the summer, which technically would be through probably WrestlePalooza, because technically it's still summer until late September. So if Roman is going to stick around, let's say through WrestlePalooza, then I could see that being like his last big match for a while, and then winning and still having the title and then disappearing for a few months, which would be fucking awful. But then Jacob is sort of his surrogate in his place while he's away. Yeah,
I could see that. Well, Rollins and Reigns, that was the other thing. I'm not going to get too in detail. We're going to get to the Super Chats in a second. That's the main event for night 2, I'm assuming, for the World Heavyweight Championship. Depending on what Cody and Punk does, I don't know where that's going to fit in. But right now, one of the big main events is Rollins and Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. I know a lot of people are just kind of over this. I've seen some of the websites kind of taking tweets and comments from people online saying that they're over this. We've been over this for 14 years. But if you guys have been watching the show, I don't know what, and people say we complain. If you've been watching the show, Rollins had a natural in back to the World Heavyweight Championship after he came back from injury because he's never lost. And then they're telling the story, and Rollins had a fantastic promo last night. And I said that when there's a big match, there's nobody like a Rollins promo. He's one of the best in the business. Next to Cody and Punk, he's right there alongside them. He's a great big match promo. For 14 years, Reigns has had to go and do what he has to do, but Rollins has always been that thorn in his side. He's never beaten Rollins in a big match situation. You know, I'm getting people claiming, Reigns beat him on a random episode of Monday Night Raw, but it was never for the title. Rollins has been there every big moment in Reigns' career, and he's always been that thorn. There's a great story there, Jason, and I will take this, and I will accept that they're finally going to close the chapter here, because Rollins he never lost the belt, and there's just a rich story there that's the most important thing. There's a story and then the match. This is what we're getting. The story between these two is kind of unmatched with anybody else in the company right now.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about how they're closer to the end than the beginning, and so this could be their last time doing the dance together. The thing that makes the most sense is the fact that he never did lose the World Championship. And so now that he's done with the vision, naturally he would want to go after the world title. I see it both ways. I like the fact that there's a rich history from them to draw from. There's a lot of history between the two of them. I also see it from the other side, where it's like it's been 14 years of this stuff. And here we are doing Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins in the main event in 2026, and people are just kind of over it. I get it. I'm with you. I actually kind of feel the same way, but at the same time, you can't say that there isn't at least a story there, and Rollins doesn't have a good reason to go after the championship, because if not now, then when?
Yeah.
He vanquished Braun Breaker. It's like he's going to go after the Intercontinental title now? Like, no, that's ridiculous. He would naturally want to go after the world title. So, I mean, I'm fine with it. I wish it was a different match. Like, in a perfect world, we would be getting Roman and Oba. Or we would be getting something that's not Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins after all these years. But in terms of the story in front of them, at least it does make sense. And the promo last night was very good. Rollins is so much more tolerable in promos like this than he is when he was the cackling hyena coming out every week, spitting out his catchphrases. We saw it when he feuded with Punk, right? He got serious. Mm-hmm. Those were his best promos.
Yep.
I still think back, it still lives rent free in my head, that one promo on Raw where it was the three-way promo with
with McIntyre.
And Rollins was probably the weakest part of that promo segment too, but it was Rollins, Punk, and McIntyre. when McIntyre was sitting on the announce desk outside. And so he was dead serious last night. There was no comedy about it. He wasn't dancing, and I am a visionary. I am a revolutionary. I'm like, no, you left all that bullshit out. God. And he focused on what he had to focus on. He made a lot of very valid points. Roman didn't really say anything. If you think about it, Roman just did what Roman does. Roman comes out, he aura farms, he tells people to acknowledge him. And then at the end of the promo, he basically just said, you're right. I don't have to beat you. I need to beat you. And that was it. That was the extent to which Roman said anything.
And he really accentuated little brother.
Yeah, little brother. But it was all Rollins, and I thought it was a really good promo.
Should be a great match. All their SummerSlam matches right now. Besides that, we don't know if it's going to be Punk Cody, if it's going to be Punk Cody Zayn. If it is Punk Cody, what's Sami going to do? Right now, we're looking at Oba, Lesnar, Hell in a Cell, Charlotte, Jade, unconfirmed, but probably the direction. IYO and Liv. We don't know if Rhea's going to be back. And then Gunther and Nick Aldis may be on the horizon as well, being that they are now kind of sent home. And I think they said that Nick Aldis is on administrative leave. So we may be getting Nick Aldis finally back in a ring. And that might be his one and only match in WWE. We'll see.
Well, I mean, Gunther is the career killer. So Aldis may get one match, and that may be all he gets. Actually, it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this. The career killer moniker actually works really well these days for Gunther, but not in the way I think that he intended. It feels like his career has sort of died off a little bit over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Compared to where he was at the beginning of this year, look at where he is. Now, if you would have told me at the beginning of this year that, hey, our big plan for Gunther at SummerSlam is going to be him wrestling the general manager, I would have said, you're out of your fucking mind. I mean, this is the guy that they had beat John Cena, and he beat AJ Styles. I'm sure they have something really big planned for him.
How the mighty have fallen, huh?
Here we are. Look, it'll probably be a fun attraction on the show, but it is a far cry from what I would have expected him to be doing on SummerSlam.
Listen, it's better than fucking Gunther and Pat McAfee.
It is. It is.
Which,
although Pat McAfee is the much bigger attraction in WWE's eyes.
He is.
Than Nick Aldis would be. So, but as a match, if they're going to have a wrestling match, then this will be the better wrestling match.
Yes. Thank you guys for what I thought was a great discussion tonight. You guys are awesome. We have 2,300 people in the chat. Really appreciate you guys for showing up. I know it's been busy. This past weekend was busy, and I know a lot of you guys are enjoying the World Cup and just the summer in general. But Jason, I really appreciate you guys being here. We're going to get into your super chats. Please hit that thumbs up. 775 likes is what I'm looking at right now. I would love to see... Let's do 850. We can get to 850 before we get out of here. That would be great. We're going to start with the super chats now. If you guys want to follow Jason, everything you need is in the description. Please go and follow him on X and on YouTube. We'll both be live for what is shaping up to be a semi-big Dynamite tomorrow with the world title on the line. We'll both be live for that. Michael Krause with a 2. JD Jason OTS TNT, all gas, no brakes with it. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Hannah with a $4.99. You're both in luck. TK moved the Redemption pay-per-view up an hour to 6 p.m. Seriously, though, thanks for all you both do. Excited for JD versus Vince Russo tomorrow. Yes, I will be on Coach and Bro for my discussion on why I believe Sami Zayn makes a good WWE champion in the interim. Vince doesn't agree with me. He wants to know why I'm a ride or die Sami Zayn fan. I have to explain it to him. NM94 the 5. JD Vinny Roos says you're a geek and you think you can win the WWE title like Sami did. Your response. And my response to that, NM, is I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. But I'm a geek because I like Sami.
I mean, come on, JD. I mean, you look nothing like that great former WCW World Heavyweight Champion Vince Russo.
Oh my God. We'll see. It should be a good time tomorrow, 6 p.m. Caden with a $1.99. No message. Thank you, Caden. Michelle 2. After Roman, do you see Seth moving to SmackDown or no? No. Now, I don't want Punk and Rollins on the same brand. That's just me personally. Baltimore Jackson with a $4.99. Much love, JD Solo. Much love to the OCS family. Hope everybody is well. Glad to be here for the night of TNT. Shout out to Solo's channel. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, boss.
Shout out to all the little monsters out there.
King Kong Forever with a $7.99. Some of the IWC are saying that Raw and SmackDown is cinema. The real cinema is JD, Solo Monster, and OTS and TNT. Woo!
I agree.
Thank you, King Kong. Cinema is not the word I would use to describe anything in pro wrestling right now. Never mind WWE. Brian Mitchum with a 5. They're ruining professional wrestling with inexperienced writers, advertisements, and bad television. Long-term booking is lost, and they are not listening to the fans. Well, I guess in some sense Triple H is, but he's trying to make sure we're all stupid. And Tony Khan is going to do what Tony Khan wants to do. But today he listened because he moved Redemption up an hour. So hopefully that sticks. And 6 p.m. is the way to go. Ali with a 5. JD, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard in July they're going to re-release Black Ops 1 and 2 for the PS5. Yes, Ali, they are ports. They are not remasters. So they're charging $50 for just a port. And they're going to ask you to buy the DLC as well. So it's going to cost you $100 for not a new game. It's just basically they're taking what was on the PS3 and moving it over. Sidro with the 45 months. Nobody's going to be playing that anyway because Grand Theft Auto is coming out in November. And
sounds like a cash grab to me.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Sidro with the 45 months. The word Q is iconic. It's just a Q with a bunch of silent letters waiting in line. Yeah. And been trying to figure out how lightning works. Then it struck me. All right, off to a rip-roaring start here, Sidro. Thank you. Baltimore Jackson, $4.99. I was reading today the PS6 is rumored to come out between $27 and $29, and it will be quite pricey. Are you guys going to purchase it? You on that PS6 wait list, bro?
I don't have the 5. So I don't know why I would be getting the 6. I don't have time to play any of these games.
No.
I'm so freaking busy.
No.
I have games that I bought. I literally have games sitting in my Steam client on my PC here that I bought that I haven't even installed. I paid for them.
Yeah.
But I haven't even installed them yet, let alone started playing them. Because I want to try to get back into like some gamer stuff, and it's just tough to find the time. So I won't be. You're the big gamer here, so you tell me. Are you on the wait list?
Yeah, I will probably be a day oneer for that. I'm a big PlayStation guy, but the thing is, it's probably going to be around $1,500 with the prices and everything with the innards of the systems now.
The RAM and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. The Steam machine just came out. It's $1,000 for a box that isn't as powerful as the PlayStation I have on my desk right now. So.
Well, how about GTA 6? You can pay for a physical box that you open up and there's a code inside.
Yeah.
You don't get a physical copy of the actual game.
Yeah, people are upset about that. And understandably so. There's a large number of people that want physical media. They like collecting that stuff. It's sad. M. James with a $5 super chat. If I had the pen, Sammy would hold the belt till Saudi Mania. I don't care what anyone says. His new character is intriguing enough to last that long. No, the plan was for him to win the title in WrestleMania next year. I'm glad they didn't wait because right now was the moment. You got to strike while everything is hot, and I'm glad they did it. Sidro with a 5. Alcohol and calculus should never mix. Don't drink and derive. Okay, that's a good one. How do cats learn to clean themselves? They go to cat lick school. P.S. Toy Story 5 was fire. I haven't watched it yet.
It was
Your movie there, Obsession's coming to Apple.
Yeah, finally, it's coming out on digital. I guess it made all the money. They've squeezed enough out of that sponge at the theaters, and now it's coming to digital. So now you will have no excuse. You can sit and watch Obsession and play your Linkin Park CD in the background as you watch the movie.
Yes. I don't have Apple TV, so I have to figure out a way to watch this thing.
You don't have Apple TV?
No.
Okay, so I'll hook you up.
Okay. Edward with a $1.99. Fun fact of the day: Javon Evans and B-Fab are cousins. Really? I did not know that. Okay, I learned something new today. Sidro with a 5. Never throw false teeth at a car. You might dent your car. And to a man on crutches, dressed in camouflage, who stole my wallet, you can hide, but you can't run. Bossman Jackson with the 199. Describe the state of WWE in one word. JD and Salamonster. Boring. That's my word.
Only one word?
Only one word, yeah.
Troubling.
That's a good one. I thought you were going to say apathetic.
Yeah, I don't want to get too fancy with the word.
Yeah, troubling's a good word. That's a
Trouble. Yeah, troubling or troubling. I'll stick with that.
All right. DB Fresco, the 499. Why does WWE always frame Seth's betrayal at the end of the Shield when they reunited multiple times since? Doesn't that contradict the story?
Yeah, they did. Didn't 2018? I think they reunited.
Yeah. Don't ask
They
questions,
did have a
bro.
Shield reunion there for a while.
Yeah, DB, you got to have fun with the product, man. You're taking it way too seriously. Eric Newton, what a fucking stupid comment, man. It's like unbelievable. Just had fun with it. Sure. Eric Newton with a 46 months.
Just enjoy the show. Shut up and enjoy the show.
Yes, fun's with the massive advertisements every fucking 3 minutes. Sure. Thank you, Eric Newton, 46 months. Laser Show, 98 with a 999. I'm not going to lie. I love Forbidden Door. Enjoy the women's title match so much. I finally signed up for Stardom World. Great stuff. And listen, man, it's got its own niche audience for sure. The length of the matches did not do me any good. Neither did Jason. Need to condense it. It doesn't need to be 6 hours long. That's ridiculous. Chicago, 4MBK with the 3 months. Totally random. Why do both of you gentlemen use got kicked in the dick instead of got kicked in the balls when Brock kicked Oba? It just sounds funnier in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I started saying that a few years ago. I think I was saying it that way in 2015 when Undertaker was kicking Brock Lesnar in the dick, and it's more impactful when you say it that way.
Yeah, then Nakamura doing that same gimmick when he wrestled AJ Styles.
Yes.
D-Bastardo with a 5. Isn't it nice they changed the title because they ran something into the ground or becomes boring and not because creative actually wrote a great story? Well, Triple H loves his moments. I just hope Sammy doesn't become just another moment. I think he deserves more than 8 days. We'll see what Triple H wants to do. But I think Jason may be correct. I don't think they can help themselves with Punk and Cody being a non-title match. It's got to be for the title. They need to sell tickets to this 2-night show. Havili, thank you again, brother. Appreciate the $100 bomb. Sidro, $5 super chat. FYI, dealing with a broken window scan can be a real pain. And Kenny Rogers wrote a book on origami. The first lesson: know when to hold him, know when to fold him. Okay. $2 super chat. Black Sheep or Tommy Boy? Also Tatum or Roxanne? Ooh.
Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy for me too. Black Sheep was great though. Me personally, Roxanne.
Yeah, I'll go Roxanne.
Step Bro with the 499. JD, I'm watching the World Cup. Wish Mexico some luck. Still wanted to support favorite unks. We'll be listening to this tomorrow. Hashtag boring. Hashtag but JD. Thank you, Step Bro. I appreciate that, man. Chrono with a 5. TNT versus Enzo and Cass. If Finn Balor never got hurt, how long would he have held the Universal title? Who would have ended the Undertaker streak if you had to choose? Cheers. Enzo and Cass are going to be great. I'm glad Enzo's getting a second chance here. And Cass, I think he's going to do well here. I'm excited for that team. Hopefully they build a nice tag team division, which is wishful thinking. But if Finn never got hurt, Jason, how long do you think he would have held that Universal title?
A few months.
And
I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have taken it into Mania.
No. And then if we had the choice, who would have ended the Undertaker streak?
Well, I wouldn't have ended the streak.
Me neither.
So, but if I was forced to end the streak, the idea that I think I had come up with at the time, God, I've been doing this for a long time. But the idea that I think I pitched was a gauntlet scenario involving all 3 members of the Shield. who clearly were being positioned as like the future. And I think the way I structured it was you open with Taker and Rollins, and he gets past Rollins. Then you do Taker and Ambrose. He gets past Ambrose, but he's more diminished. And then Roman, of course, gets the win in the end of it. And so they get to work with The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and you tell that story. In the end, it's too much for him. Roman gets the pin. And I think I came up with some other idea where coming out of that Mania, you can begin to kind of build the tension between the three members, because Roman is sort of taking all the credit for being the one to end the streak, and the other members don't like it. I forgot exactly how I crafted the story. I gave this a lot of thought, and I was like, if I had to do this, this is how I would sort of map it out.
That is creative. I think that may be too creative for the fucking people in charge, even then or now. But
probably, yeah. There was not that one person who I would have been like, okay, that's the guy.
No. All I could tell you is I wouldn't have ended the streak, but I would have done Undertaker Cena, and I would have had the streak come dangerously close to ending via John Cena, but him falling in the end. That I'm sad that we never got that. So. Angela Lago with 50 months. WWE had 77 minutes of wrestling, and AEW almost at 240. One is too little, the other is too much. There needs to be a happy medium. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Endless boredom with a 199. ExpressVPN isn't working on Netflix.
Worked for me last night. Worked for me like a charm. I tell people, because what I've noticed is I think with some of the VPNs, the VPNs are kind of picking up on people who are using, and so they're having difficulty like connecting to certain servers in certain countries. If you run into that issue, I think what happens is people switch between a lot of different places, and somehow it can detect. You can create a second profile on Netflix and just use that profile. Like if you are someone who uses VPNs, create a second profile on Netflix that you just use exclusively for whenever you're going to use a VPN to go in there and do what you're going to do, and just use it for that, and try to just connect, like pick a country, just use that one server. Don't switch back and forth between this country and that country. And that seems to do it for people. So the only difference is every time you go into Netflix, it may first come up with like, pick your profile, and just pick the profile you want to use. But that worked for me when I started having issues. So I have no problems now.
There you go. Sidro, I posted your, or pinned rather, your comment in the live stream chat. If you guys want to go check out Sidro's new song, I just pinned it down at the bottom of the live stream. Raekwon with a $9.99. Awesome to hear the love for Mercedes. Black and gold NXT was my favorite time as a fan. Solo, we might have run into each other at TakeOver Brooklyn. Flew home to New York just to see Sasha and Bailey.
Yeah, we may have. I mean, I remember I met a few people at that event. It was a fun night. It was a fun night. I have yet to go to a show with a women's match as great as that one, and then they followed that one immediately. I think it was Balor and Owens in a ladder match. I think. Yeah. That was a fun night.
Thank you, Raekwon. Bossman Jacks with a $4.99. All wrestling companies combined so far. Who's the company of the year? Superstar of the year? Match of the year? Your thoughts? Match of the year? There's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I do that at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I wait until the end of the year to figure out, because there's been a lot of great ones so far, and we're gonna get a lot more in these next 6 months. So there have been a bunch of matches I've really liked so far. I mean, obviously Okada and Takeshita, but also Americano. I mean,
yeah,
probably it would be that one if I had to just settle on one.
Yeah.
Because just the atmosphere and the building and everything else was just so great. But I like waiting until the end of the year when I have like a full picture of everything.
Yeah. Thank you, Boss Mo Jackson. Match of the year for me, I can only tell you, is Americano. Boots, thank you again for the $100 bomb. We certainly appreciate you being here, man. Thank you. We got JD from that Pride Parade, 206 with a $4.99. Hi, sisters. I'm the one JD from the JD verse that wasn't supposed to exist, but I'm here because it's my month for a few more hours. Slay, sisters. Yes, queen.
Wow. Well, I thought it was YAS, though, right?
YAS?
Not When you say yes, I think it's usually spelled Y-A-S.
Oh, yes. Well, he spelled
you
yes.
You gotta say it the right way.
I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying anything. Don Stoney with a 5. Shout out to Don Tony Wrestling Soup, Spitball Media, and as always, R.I.P. Kevin Castle. Stoney, thank you, brother. Love you. Thank you for being here. Yo, boy, Pete with a $4.99. After the Nightmare Fuel Leo Rush impression from JD, I need one from Salamanca, please.
What? Leo Rush?
Yeah, Leo Rush impersonation, yes, from Salamanca.
I did it earlier. I talked about, I talked about, it's fine. He knows. It's fine.
I did mine on fucking Monday morning in the wee hours of the morning. Furious Nation with a 4.99. What's up, JD Solo? Banger TNT to close out the month. 18 years ago, CM Punk cashed in Money in the Bank on Edge on Raw, June 30th in Oklahoma City.
I remember that. I think it was thanks to a Batista bomb to Edge, right? With a little assist from Batista, I believe.
Thank you, Furious. Joker Face with a 199. JD Obsession movie is on streaming now, Apple TV. Yes, I'm aware. I have to watch this. I have to watch Sopranos too and Game of Thrones. I got a lot of things to catch up on. I do have HBO Max now, so I now have access to Sopranos and Game of Thrones. So.
Oh, well, if you have HBO Max, I would recommend The Pit.
Okay.
My new favorite show.
I will check it out.
2 seasons in so far. And did you ever watch ER back in the day?
No.
Yeah, I never did either. But this is because Noah Wiley was on that show, and he's like the lead star on this one. So there's no real direct connection between the two. But it's really, really well done.
I got a lot to catch up on. Chicago 4 MBK with a 5. Thanks for another great TNT. Thank you for being here, brother. Caden with the 21 months. Love this community. Thank you, JD and Solo, for giving your real feelings on the wrestling product. P.S. to all the IWC geeks trying to cancel Kendall again. I don't even want to know. What did Kendall do? What could Kendall Gray possibly do? I don't get it. RD with a 5. As weird as he is, I feel that Leo Rush is the most interesting character in wrestling right now. Enjoy the show, homies. Stay cool. Thank you, brother. Leo Rush took a little bit to grow on me, but I got to give him credit, man. Commitment to the gimmick is what's going to get it over, and that's exactly. Yeah.
You're coming around. I knew you'd come around.
I know. J-Ray with a 5. JD just wanted an update on you talking with Solid Monster on moving Titans to Thursday, reporting on more news in real time, especially after Dynamites. We will be Tuesday for the foreseeable future. I don't think a move to Thursday is really necessary. Unless there is a reason to do so. With a combined joint effort here, I don't really see the need to move to Thursday. If by chance something ends up on Tuesday that we absolutely have to cover individually, like a weekly show, then that's the only thing that will probably prompt us to give it some consideration. Gary Gordon with a 5. Great TNT. Miami Marlins 20-6. I don't want to talk about baseball, but the Braves are the worst team in baseball.
No, they're not.
Yeah, yes, they are, bro. They're fucking terrible, dude. They're awful.
Look who you're talking to.
We went from 11 games to 2 games now ahead of the Phillies. I don't know what you call that.
The Mets are like 80 games down. Okay, so did you see that inside the park?
I did. I did.
Okay, so don't give me this shit that the Braves are the worst team in baseball. You get no sympathy out of me.
I hope the Phillies win the division, man. Just put me out of my misery already. I don't give a shit. Gary, thank you, brother. Furious with a 4.99. If Sammy versus Cody on Raw July 6th is shades of Ray versus Cena from 2011, do you think Punk versus Cody with Sammy as referee, or Sammy versus Punk with Cody as the referee?
I think we've already done the referee gimmick.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. I could see did we mention that there is a title on the line in Chicago?
I didn't mention it. I didn't want to spoil anything.
Okay, so then I won't mention it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, though, I think I expect Punk to be back in Chicago next week.
Yes.
And it may be a case where maybe he just kind of walks out there, which honestly is kind of what happened, I think, in 2011 with what he's referring to, where Punk had won the title and then he disappeared. And then 2 weeks later, he just kind of walked out there. That was his big return. I think we may see him just kind of walk out at the end of the show next week. I could see that.
Probably. Furious, thank you for the $4.99. Justin Toner with a $10 super chat. Thanks for another great TNT tonight, guys. What great American Bash matches were you able to watch besides Lola Kendall, which was great? Congrats to Kendall, new NXT Women's Champion. I watched that personally, and I watched the Tony D and Nakaru match. Everything else, I kind of... Naraku. Sorry. I have to go back and watch Tatum and Zarya. I heard it was really good, so I didn't watch that yet. And Furious, we'll end with this. $4.99. Do you think Triple H would outprice tickets like TKO? I don't think Vince would either, probably. And shout out to Kendall Gray as well, the real deal. Would Triple H outprice tickets?
No. It's a TKO thing. They did this with UFC. They're doing it with WWE.
Yep.
They always, if you ever listen to Ari Emanuel when he speaks at these conferences, or Mark Shapiro, they're talking about the flywheel, and they're talking about ticket capacity. And I think it was Shapiro, was it last year, who even made the comment like we haven't even scratched the surface of how high we can raise ticket prices. We think we're behind the ball where we can be right now. They can raise them even more than they already have.
Oh my God, man! I don't like that man at all.
That's what they do. It's the TKO way.
I know.
TKO way.
Thank you guys very much for all that you've done tonight, man. Really appreciate the support. 153 in the books. I'm gonna let this guy sound us off for another week here on Tuesday Night Titans.
Well, two things, actually. Just a thank you, I think, from both of us on our respective channels. Everybody who has hung with us through all of the content and all the different wrestling shows and everything over the last several days. We appreciate it. And just a shout out to good old JR, who was due to get out of the hospital today. He had been in the hospital for 30 days straight.
Wow. With
what we don't know, some sort of ailment. Maybe he fell again, I don't know, but... he was due to get out of the hospital today. I don't know if he did. Hopefully he did, and hopefully he is able to stay healthy, because he's had a lot of issues over the last few years. So hopefully he doesn't end up back in the hospital again.
Love JR. Thoughts and prayers to him. Also, guys, 4th of July coming up. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe. I'll be in Atlantic City enjoying myself away from pro wrestling. I'll be live for Friday, as will Jason. We'll be live tomorrow for Dynamite, but if you're doing anything this weekend, enjoy yourself. Yes,
on Friday.
That's the key. Back to 2 hours, man. It's going to be beautiful. Hopefully the show is. I doubt it, but enjoy yourself. Going to be a really hot holiday, man. It's my computer's saying record highs, so it's all right. I'm looking at my weather on the computer. 76 degrees still in New York City. It's fucking disgusting. So thank you guys very much, man. Stay safe. Enjoy yourself this holiday. We will be back with you next Tuesday. We got another big week, man. Is Cody going to be the champion? Is it going to be Sami? What's Punk going to do? We'll talk about it next week right here on TNT. See you guys later.